This 3 hours long Databricks Asset Bundles video will make you a pro Databricks Asset Bundle developer because you will master and learn about deploying notebooks and source code files, adding Databricks workflow jobs in the bundles, integrating modern Delta Live table pipelines in the deployment bundles, using environment variables for multiple developments, Databricks profiles for authentication, Databricks YAML configuration. Not only this, you will also master Databricks Git Folders plus Databricks CLI, which are the most in-demand topics right now. But why should you learn about Databricks Asset Bundles in 2025? Because every Databricks interview is incomplete without this topic. Plus, not just about interviews, even after landing a job, you need to work with the asset bundles in order to succeed in your corporate world as a data engineer. And you know what? This masterclass is specially designed to cover the 2025 Databricks upgrades as well, so that you can just stay ahead in the curve. So if you are dedicated for your data engineering career, then let's get started with this amazing masterpiece and see you. So what's up, my data fam? One of the most demanded topic from my Databricks lovers. Where is Databricks Asset Bundle video? Where is blah blah blah? See, now here is the most in demand topic, in demand video: asset bundles. Databricks Asset Bundles, DABs. Do you know what? I know like why this is like one of the most requested topic related to Databricks. I know that because even if you know a lot of things in Databricks, this is the topic that will 110% like confirmed coming to your interviews. I'm so sure, because let's say interviewer is asking you 10 questions overall, 9 questions will be regarding just Databricks, and at the end they will ask, have you ever worked with Databricks Asset Bundles? Have you ever deployed bundles? So that question can just be like salt on the cake not cherry on the cake. But if you know this topic, and if you can answer that last question confidently, asset bundles, obviously asset bundles are so simple. I have just worked with asset bundles. I know like all the ins and outs. Your selection is confirmed. So just for your confidence, just for you, so that you can answer that last question in your interview about asset bundles, this is the video for you. And if you have already cracked some interviews, if you have already if you have already got some offers, and if you are asked to perform something related to asset bundles, then obviously you need this tutorial, because this will make you a pro Databricks Asset Bundles developer from zero. Yes, I am not expecting any kind of, you can say, knowledge with respect to asset bundles. And let me just even tell you, I do not even expect very deep understanding of Databricks. I do not expect, first you need to master all the concept of Databricks, then you should be able to watch this video. Not really. If you know very little things about Databricks, it's fine. This video is for you, because asset bundles is like totally different domain. It is linked to CI/CD workflow. It is for deployment, right? So you do not need to worry. If you even know a very little bit about Databricks, this video is for you. Okay. Plus, I want to celebrate for just a minute. Congratulations, my lovely data fam, who have just cracked amazing offer letters. And see, this is my lovely data fam who genuinely listen to me, who genuinely follow the steps that I just mention in the video. Small tips, small questions, so small guidance. That's it. So very congratulations to every single one. And I also want to see your comment as well on this particular video, which is asset bundles, or maybe in the next video, or maybe you can still comment on this video once you get the offer, because I want to see your comments. I want to help you as much as I can. Okay, as much as I can. Okay, very good. And do you know what? YouTube has just added a new feature. It's called hype, creating a hype for any video. I know you are a top-notch YouTube user, okay, and I am very dumb, so it's a homework for you. Just hit that hype button. I think it is available when you click on like button, and it is available when you swipe the comments section, or if you just swipe or scroll down, I don't know. just hit that hype button, because I want to show this channel on the hyped section of the YouTube, and I want to represent my lovely data family there. So it's your responsibility just to go on any video, or I would say on every video. If you can, just click on hype button on every video right now if you just want to support this channel, if you just want to support me, and if you want me to just create more and more videos in future related to data engineering, big data, and all the related domains. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? And I hope you will do that, because I know you love me a lot. Okay, I know that. Okay, so let's get started with asset bundles. And what are the prerequisites? As I just mentioned, not much prerequisite, very basic understanding of Databricks, that's it. Plus, you can say one of the best news about this video. Asset bundles usually are used with the cloud service providers, let's say Azure, AWS, GCP. But I know like a lot of you will not be having the access to the Azure or any cloud service providers. So what I did, I created this video with the help of free edition. Yes, you heard it right. Literally with the free edition, so that you do not need to set up anything. You do not need to spend any single penny to learn asset bundles. And the best part, you will learn all the things, including deployment as well. Everything. Okay, makes sense. And you will also master so many things. For example, asset bundle is not just about asset bundles. It's about your DevOps. It's about your CI/CD. It's about your development. It's about your local development. It's about your Git within Databricks. It's about CLI, all those things. It's a combination of everything. Okay, that is why it is the deciding factor in the interviews as well, if you have worked with asset bundles. And if your answer is yes, and not just yes, like this with confidence, your selection is done, bro. Right? Okay, so now what do we need and how we gonna approach this video? It will hardly take 1 to 2 minutes. Let me just explain. First of all, we will approach this video through Databricks CLI, command line interface, because that is the backbone of asset bundles. Okay. Once we do that, then I will quickly show you how you can just do the same stuff using Databricks Git Folders as well, because Databricks Git Folders are also very popular nowadays. So I do not want to leave any corner for this video. I will cover each and everything. Make sense? Plus, we also want to see like how you can just develop anything using your local setup, maybe VS Code or any kind of IDE that you want to use, because that is also one of the things that you need to know if you are working with asset bundles. Okay, and don't worry, it may sound a lot of things that we need to do. Actually, yes, we need to do a lot of things, but with ease and with fun and with notes, because notes is like, you have to take notes, bro. You have to take notes. Okay, so let's get started. And the first thing is, let's create our free Databricks edition, because obviously we need Databricks, right? Let's do that. So in order to create your free Databricks edition account, steps are very obvious and very simple, and I hope that you already know, but still let me just show you. Simply go to any browser and simply search Databricks free edition. Okay, then click on this try Databricks for free, and it will take you to this page. Okay, now what is this page? I think they have again changed the page. I think this is really, really good if they have just changed this page, because I was just hoping that they will change this page, and finally they have changed it. Very good. So now this is the page that you will land on. So basically you do not need to click on directly here. Why? Because this is basically the express setup, which is called Databricks for Work, which says 14-day free trial with up to $400 in credits. Makes sense? Get instant access to data intelligence, okay, all those things. You will get the access just for 14 days, but we want something that will be free for a longer period of time. Okay, so you need to simply say already using Databricks login, and in your case, if you are not using Databricks, you will be seeing something like create account or sign up, something like this. Make sense? Make sense? And I don't know like why they keep on changing. Oh, here's a link. I was like, where's the link? I don't know like why they simply change the UI for creating the account. Why? What's the big deal, bro? So simply click on this particular link. They have moved this link from here, like it used to be here, just below the login button. So now it is here. Do you want Databricks for personal use, get the core features free forever with free edition? So yes, we need that. And now click on this one. Okay, now this is the button, get started for free. Do you want Databricks for work? No, because now we want free version. So this is the Databricks free edition form that you can now fill. If you click on continue with Google, continue with Microsoft, it's up to you. Okay, whatever email ID you want to use. The best thing is you do not need any kind of business email ID. Once you sign up on this, like sign up with this particular email ID, you are good to start with. Then what you can do, once you have the account, you can click on already using Databricks login, because now you have the account, right? So the moment you will click on it, let me just click here and let me just log in with my cloud account. Okay, so you can click on AWS and that's it. So this is my Databricks free edition portal. Okay, and this is almost exactly the same as we get in the paid version, or you can say cloud version, because earlier in the community edition it was not exactly same, but this is almost exactly the same with some restrictions such as Metastore and all those things. Okay, but I would say if you are just learning Databricks, this is enough. Okay, that is like one of the best things that Databricks has done actually for the learners. So that's a good thing, very good. And obviously, like, I will try my best to just teach you as much as I can. Okay. So now, so this is just a Databricks portal, and obviously if you just want to learn Databricks, you can simply go on Google and simply search, or any portal, simply say Ansh Lamba Databricks. That's it, Ansh Lamba Databricks. So here you will see multiple videos. This is like one of the earlier videos that I created for Databricks, but yes, Databricks has changed a lot after that. So I would recommend watching this video, Modern Databricks with Unity Catalog. And trust me, you can actually watch both the videos. But if you are very, very busy, I know like you have the busiest schedule, then obviously if you just want to watch this video, I think this Modern Databricks is like with more latest features like Unity Catalog, Unity Metastore, external locations, all those things. So if you just want to learn about Databricks from scratch, just watch Modern Databricks, and that's it. If you have more resources, yeah, like all these things are also there. So yeah, you can just do anything if you want. Okay, so very good. So you can just watch that video, and I will also try to just attach that I button link in the I button and blah blah. Okay, perfect. So this is like overview of Databricks, and we have created our account. Simple, sorted, and I expect that you will have some knowledge, like very basic knowledge. Okay, perfect. So now I am assuming that you are a pro Databricks developer. I'm just kidding, just like basic understanding. Okay, so now if you watched my introduction part, that some people say, especially girls, I don't know like why girls roast me a lot, I don't know. So if you have watched that introduction part, okay, so in that introduction part, I mentioned that the core of Databricks Asset Bundles is CLI, Databricks CLI, Databricks Command Line Interface. Now let's stop here and let's try to see what exactly is Databricks CLI, because we often see a lot of people talk about Databricks CLI, what is it about and how we can work with Databricks CLI. Because so far we have just worked with Databricks Portal, Databricks Notebook, Databricks Workspace, but what is CLI? So it is very interesting. Let me show you Databricks CLI. Let's open this particular documentation. It is very, very interesting. So basically it says, let me expand it. It says Databricks CLI, which is command line interface, obviously allows you to interact with Azure Databricks, not just Azure Databricks, because this is Azure, basically Microsoft documentation. That is, it is written, that is why it is written Azure Databricks, but it is like Databricks platform from your local terminal or automation scripts. You can also run Databricks CLI commands from within a Databricks workspace using web terminal. That is a revolutionary thing, because you would be thinking, if you want to run a CLI command, basically using scripting languages, shell languages, we always use terminal, which is hosted on our machine. But Databricks says you can even use web terminal. Yes. Make sense? And I also want to show you this particular section. How does CLI work? Basically, CLI is not a magic. Whenever we use any CLI command behind the scenes, it is sending the REST API request. Basically, CLI is a wrapper that is built on top of REST APIs. So let's say I write Databricks Unity catalogs list, something like this. Okay, I will just show you the Databricks CLI commands as well. You do not need to remember. You are not a dumb machine. You can simply go and check the CLI commands. Okay, and yeah. So basically, it is basically a wrapper that is making the API calls behind the scenes for you, so that you do not need to make those API calls and getting the data. Okay, make sense? Okay, this is CLI. Makes sense. So now if we want to work with CLI and if you want to master Databricks Asset Bundles, just follow the instructions that I'm just mentioning right now. Forget about asset bundles for now, because you need to cover the things in a sequence. If we are talking about CLI, just say to yourself that we are learning CLI, but we know that by the end of this video, you will master Databricks Asset Bundles. Okay, so I know it is very obvious, but for some people it is not very obvious. Like common sense is not very common nowadays. So let's talk about CLI. So now how we can work with CLI and what is that particular thing that we need to have in our machine or all those things basically. Okay, so if you just see, we can, these are like basically examples like how we can just see it. Let me just click on install or update. If we want to install Databricks CLI, okay, I will simply click on Windows. If you have Linux or Mac OS, you can simply go on this curl, and curl is like obviously Mac OS lovers. I'm not a Mac OS lover, or I'm a lover. I don't know. So let's see Windows. So in Windows, I will open Winget. We have Chocolatey as well. We have Windows subsystem for Linux as well, but Winget is like another very famous, you can say, library management resource that we can just use. If I click on Winget, so basically we can use these commands to install Databricks CLI on our machine. This is using Winget. Now you will say, why it is not using pip? Why it is not using that? Basically, it is not just a library. It is a kind of software that it is installing on your machine. So whenever you want to install something, we use Winget. We do not use pip here, because pip is just for the libraries. It is not just a library. It is a proper software. Okay. So now you need to do, first of all, before doing this, I would expect that your system should have a VS Code editor. And obviously, if I say you should have some basic understanding of Databricks, I expect like you would have worked with VS Code as well in the past, because it's a basic stuff, right? So you should have VS Code editor installed plus Python installed on your system. Make sense? Can I expect this small task from you? This small task? If yes, thank you so much. Okay, so if you have VS Code installed, very good. If you have Python installed, very good. Rest of the things I will take care. Okay, all those installations, all those packages, UV, everything. Plus one more thing that I can just ask you to install. Just install UV. What is UV? Let me just show you. UV Python. Simply search UV Python. You will get Astral link. Basically, UV is a new package manager, you can say, framework within Python. I know pip is very famous. Okay, but every second organization is trying to get rid of pip and they are switching to UV, and UV is very fast. Very fast. As you can read as well, it is 10 to 100 times faster than pip, because I think it is built with Rust. So it is very fast. Okay, so how you can install basically UV? So you can simply say pip install UV. That's it. And let me just search that particular thing, how to install UV on your UV Python install multi, or it is just for like your Python version. So if it is showing, because it is for Windows. So it is the PowerShell command that you can just use, but I think you can also write pip install UV. If I open cmd command prompt, if I say pip install UV, let's see what happens. Yeah, it is downloading UV, and you can simply install UV like this as well. So once you have UV, you are good. You should be good, I think. Yeah. UV may also be installed with pip. See, tip. UV may also be installed with pip, homebrew and more. See all the methods on installation page. So if we say installing UV, so they are saying that yes, it can be installed with your PyPy library as well. As you can see, pip install UV, that's it. Pipx or pip, whatever you want to use. Okay, so you can simply go to your command prompt and simply type pip install UV. Now UV will be installed in your system. Makes sense? And you can also install it with Winget, but I'm not a big fan of Winget. Pip is the best way if we have it, and that's it. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Okay, so this is like all about UV, and this is like all about, you can say, prerequisites that we have for our particular setup. Okay, VS Code, Python and UV, that's it. Makes sense. Very good. So now we have everything ready, like everything, you can say, prerequisite, basically our tools, our basically, you know, like whatever we need to just use. Okay, so now let's get started with our CLI installation. It is very, very simple, and yes, we need to use Winget for that. Okay, so what I will do, I will simply first of all try this command, which is called Winget search Databricks, and this is tricky, just be with me. Okay, so if you just go to your command prompt and if you just search this command and hit enter, it will search your Winget search Databricks. Makes sense? And it will simply say Databricks CLI, this, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's fine. Now I am going to try this particular command, which says Winget install Databricks CLI. That means I want to install Winget, basically Databricks CLI through Winget. If I hit enter, you will see that it will download it. Obviously, if I already have that, it will show me this thing, found an existing package already installed, because it is already installed on my system, trying to upgrade the installed package. Because if you have already installed it, it will simply upgrade it. Maybe there are some upgrades from your last downloaded version and blah blah. Okay, very good. In your case, you will see it will be downloaded. If you will be just running this command multiple times, you will see this thing, found an existing package, and that is fine. That is fine. And it is downloading the Databricks CLI from this particular GitHub repo, which is the official repo of Databricks, from where we can just download the CLI. Simple, sorted, very good. Now let me show you. If let's say, first of all, yeah, let's try the Databricks version. Just let's confirm like our download is successful. So if I say Databricks -v, I should see the version. It says Databricks CLI version 0.268.0. In your case, it can be the latest version. If you, it depends, like when you are just watching this video. In most of the cases, it will be same. Now, in some cases, you will see this version. In some cases, you will not. So if you are not seeing this version, and if you know that you have downloaded this particular CLI, simply close all the terminals and try it for one more time. Like open the CLI and just check the version. It will work. Just allow some 5 to 10 minutes. It will work. Okay. Now, if it doesn't work, you may need to restart your laptop or computer, because whenever we just download anything from Winget, it takes time to reflect into our system. Okay, so you can even restart your laptop. So it's not a big deal. If you are still not be able to see the things, you can simply restart the laptop. Make sense? So that is your Databricks CLI downloaded on your system. Very good. So now our downloading is also completed. Now what do we need to do? We will simply open VS Code editor and we will get started with our development. Okay, let's do it. So this is my VS Code editor, and what I have done in this particular VS Code editor, like so far for this VS Code editor, nothing. I have just opened one folder. So if you will see, this is a folder name which is called Asset Bundles Tutorial, basically TUT in short. So this is the folder that I have opened. How you can also open a folder? Click on File, then click on Open Folder, and then just select your folder, and it should be empty folder, because obviously if you are developing something new, we should not create something beforehand, right? Very good. So this is very simple. Like see, it is an empty folder, nothing is inside this folder, but yes, we will be just doing a lot of stuff. Before that, I will just show you the terminal first of all. Okay, so you can either click on these 3 dots, click on terminal and then new terminal. So it will open something like this, or you can press the shortcut key, which is Control Shift Tab to open a terminal. So in this particular terminal, you need to make sure that your VS Code editor is able to read your Databricks CLI. Sometimes it takes time. You can say again, steps are exactly the same. If I write Databricks -v, I should see this one. That means my installation is perfect. If you are not seeing this thing, do not need to worry, because sometimes you need to restart your laptop or restart your IDE, restart your all the terminals. Sometimes it takes time. In the best scenario, and if you do not want to do this, simply restart the laptop and that's it. Simple. Okay, and obviously restart all the applications. So that means our basically terminal within the IDE is also able to read this particular CLI. Simple. And as I just mentioned, that it is a software, not just a library. So we should be able to work with CLI from any virtual environment as well. Make sense? So now we need to create our code base. Okay. So how we create our code base, it is very, very simple. And even before creating the code base, I will just first of all show you some of the CLI commands that we can explore. If I go to my Databricks, basically folder, Databricks workspace. Okay. So first of all, we need to able to talk to this Databricks through our CLI. Sorted? Simple. So we will be using something called as authentication. Okay. Authentication. There are basically two types of authentication, very popular ones. Like usually we have a lot of things. The one is U2M, user to machine, and second is M2M, machine to machine. In order to perform machine to machine, you need to have service principals and all, and you need like service cloud service provider. But usually we go with U2M because it is very easy to set up. Plus, in most of the scenarios, you will be using U2M. Because M2M is ideal when you are working in an organization and you are simply using service principal. But if I just talk about working in an organization perspective as well, I think U2M is like very popular there as well. So simply go with U2M. So how we can just authenticate our Databricks workspace? See, this is Databricks workspace. Sorted. I am logged in here. Sorted. I can do the stuff. Sorted. This is my VS Code editor. Yes. I want to talk to this Databricks and do the same stuff, or you can say similar stuff. Yes. How Databricks will know all the requests coming from this particular CLI, which is just like API commands, are authentic. So we need to simply set up something called as authentication, or basically U2M authentication. So for that, you can simply write Databricks, okay, auth login, okay, auth login, and then space. And now what you need to do, you need to simply provide the host name. So say you can simply go to, let's say, compute, SQL warehouse, then click on the serverless compute, and then go to connection details, and this is the host name. Okay, I think you do not need a host name, I guess, or you need HTTP path. Let me just search, like put the thing. Okay, I think this should be host. Okay, so let me just grab the host first of all. Yeah, because usually in Azure Databricks, we can just actually see the pattern and we can just get to know, because we just need this HTTPS connection. So I can also just copy the things from here as well, because we should always provide HTTPS as well within our path basically. So I will simply hit enter. So what will happen? Databricks profile name. So it will say what should be your profile name. I will simply type dev, because for so far we just want to create a dev profile. That means development environment. Hit enter. So as you can see, it says authenticated. So now my Databricks is authenticated. Let me just go back to the VS Code and let's see what actually happened. So it says profile dev was successfully saved. But where it is saved? Where? So it actually creates something called as .databricks CFG, which is configuration file for our Databricks authentication. Or basically I can say all the profiles that we have within our local configuration file. So I can also say Databricks profiles list, something like this. Error unknown name profile, maybe profile, or maybe like this, profiles list. Yep. So basically this is the command. Let me scroll right to the top. Okay, so it is saying that I have this particular command which is saying usage blah blah. Let me just clear all the clutter because there was like a long page. So let me just open the terminal. Perfect. So now if you just want to see like whatever profiles you have, and even before that, now your Databricks connection or basically authentication is set up. Really, yes, because you have that particular configuration file that I will just show you within a minute. Don't need to worry. And if you just want to see the profiles, I will first of all show you Databricks -h. This is one of the CLI commands that you can just run in order to see all the available options. So if you will scroll up or basically down, you will see all the options that we have. So let's say I want to see something related to, let's say, profiles. So I can simply pick that particular option from here, and then I can simply say H because it works in the hierarchical pattern as well. Make sense? I know it not completely, but you will see a lot of things. Don't need to worry. So now let me just first of all show you if we have anything for like profile or profiles. So these are the other commands that we have, additional commands. If you just want to see any kind of, you can say, authentication related thing, then you have auth that we have just used. So these are basically all the commands, and these are the short form or abbreviations that we use for Databricks. Okay, so if we have Databricks profiles -h, that means it is saying there's no command for profiles, and that is fine. We can also see it from here. Databricks profiles list CLI, because there's a long list of CLI commands. Yeah, I think there's a command, Databricks auth profiles. So let's try with this one. I simply trusted Gemini, so I hope it will give it to me. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Gemini. So basically these are all the profiles that we have within our system right now. I just have one and it says valid. Yes, there is the URL that you can see, HTTPS. With HTTPS, just remember you need to copy the full URL. If you see the Databricks, if I copy this one, I will only get this particular thing without HTTPS. You need to make sure that you add HTTPS, otherwise it can throw some errors in the future while you'll be just deploying our bundle. Okay, so this is our authentication that we have completed so far, and that is completed. Make sense? So now this is like very beginning stages of our, you can say, environment setup, and not just environment setup, basically development setup and everything. So now let me just show you that .databricks CFG file. So this is your Databricks config file, and where it will be located in your machine. So it depends. Usually it will directly go to the C drive, which is the default drive, and within that it will go to the users folder, and whatever the name of your laptop or whatever name you have set for your machine, and within that it will go in that folder, and it will be named as .databricks CFG, which is basically a config file. And as you can see that this is the code that will be written in that file, and we didn't write this code. Okay, first of all, let me just read this comment. It is saying the profile defined in default section is to be used as a fallback when no profile is explicitly specified. That means when it was asking us to provide a name, if we do not define any name or anything, it will simply put our credential in the default. Okay, and as the name suggests, because you will be saying, hey, when do we need to use it, and why default is there, and how we can just use that, you do not need to worry for now. Basically, whenever we want to run any CLI command using our local system, we need to tell which profile we want to use every time. But if we forget to provide the profile name due to any reason, it will use the default one. So should we always populate the default one with something? Not really. I can literally remove this. It's not a big deal. But if I remove this, I need to make sure that I will just provide the profile name every time, and I can simply save it, Control S. Simple. So now this is the profile, and what is the profile name? It's called dev. Make sense? And this is the host, and authentication type is Databricks CLI. Simple and sorted. So this is all about your profile. Okay, so now let's say if I open the terminal, okay, if I open the terminal and if I want to, let's say, use my CLI to get anything using this particular Databricks, okay, this is this workspace. I want to see some information and I want to make sure my CLI is working fine. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply try to fetch some information. Let's say I want to fetch some information related to catalogs. How many catalogs do I have? What is the catalog name? So yes, you can do everything using CLI. So let me just show you the documentation as well. So here's a page called CLI commands. Here we have literally every command, like for each task. You can simply go and scroll this, whatever command you want to use. Let's say you want to fetch meta stores, grants, functions, all those things. So there's a long list. And another way to do that, you can simply say Databricks -h, which is basically for help. So this will give you all the list, basically the list of all the commands available within the CLI. Okay. And it is like even better when you just want to, let's say you want to use catalogs command. Okay. And there's a catalogs command here. If you scroll related to, I think, workspaces, let me just expand it. Yeah, this is a better view. Perfect. So here you will see something called a Unity catalog, and we have something called as catalogs. See, so let's say I want to use this information, but I do not know how to use it. Like I do not know the exact command. So it is very simple. You can simply type, Databricks catalogs and -h, because you do not know how to use it. So you're simply seeking help just for the catalogs command. And now you will see this syntax. So now it is saying, hey, you can use catalogs command, and there is a section called usage. So it is saying you need to write Databricks catalogs, and you have two options. You can write flag and you can also write any command. So what are the available command? If I want to write command, I have get, I have list, I have update, I have delete, I have create. That means I can even create a catalog using this CLI. Exactly, yes. Then what flags do I have? I have flag -h if I want more information. So let's say I want to use list. Okay, I want to use list. So I'll simply say Databricks catalogs list, hit enter. And what it will do, it will give me all the catalogs that I have in my Databricks workspace. In your case, you will just see this system catalog and manage catalog. What is this one? Basically, this is the default catalog that you get. This is my previously created catalog that I created in the past. It's called Databricks Ansh, but in your case, it will not be there. Okay, obviously. So this way you can actually list all the catalogs. Make sense? Now you will say, Ansh Lamba, we also want to create a catalog. How we can just create the catalog? It is very, very simple. I will simply say Databricks, okay, then catalogs, then create. And I do not know how to create it, but I know that there's something called create. So I will simply say -h to just get the help. So now it will give me the detailed version. So it will say go to usage. It will say just write this Databricks catalogs create and the name of the catalog that we want to create. Simple. Okay. Now flags. What are the available flags? Flags are JSON, provider name, share name, storage root, and comment, and all those things. So what I will do, I will simply say Databricks catalogs. Okay, create. Let's say we want to create catalog called Asset Bundles. Okay. Now just look at this. I will simply write profile. It's called dev. Hit enter. And metastore root URL does not exist. Default storage is enabled in your account. You can use UI to create a new catalog using default storage. Okay, perfect. So now what is this error? Basically not an error. Why we are seeing this particular information? So as you know that you are using a free edition of Databricks, right? So you do not have full control at the metastore level, as I just told you, right? So you actually cannot create catalogs like this because you would need the access on the metastore. So what is the alternative of it? You can simply go to Databricks, okay, and simply go to catalog and create a new catalog. I will simply quickly create a new catalog. called asset bundles. Okay, asset bundles, let's say, and create. Okay, configure catalog, all workspace have access, grant, and then next, save. Okay, so this catalog is there. Now let's try to create schema within this catalog. That's what we can do, right? Because we have the full control in the objects within the catalog. Okay, so first of all, let's try to see how many schemas do we have within this catalog. I will say Databricks catalogs, okay, and -h. Basically get and then -h, because I do not have any kind of syntax information. Okay, so I'll simply see usage. It will say Databricks catalogs get and the name of the catalog and then flag. What are the flag? H, help, include, browse, and all those things. Okay, so I'll simply say Databricks catalogs get asset bundles, because I want to see like what do we have inside this catalog, and I will use profile dev every time. Even if you do not use profile, it will use the only existing profile. But if you have more profiles, then it can create a problem. It will say, hey, I'm confused which profile I need to use. So always try to specify this particular flag called profile. Okay, so now it has given me the information about this catalog, and it is saying catalog name, like catalog type managed and created by this, and metastore is metastore, full name is this, isolate, metastore ID, and blah blah, all those things. And storage location is this one, and this is an AWS location, storage location, and obviously it is a free catalog, basically free metastore that we are using free edition. So we do not own this location. It is owned by Databricks itself. Okay, makes sense? Okay, makes sense. So this is like all about how you can just interact with the Databricks CLI and let's say catalog. And let's try to create a schema so that you will feel like, okay, we can also create objects from CLI. So I'll simply say Databricks, then let's say schema. If we have schema command, let's see. I doubt, because it should be like Databricks catalog or maybe schemas. Let's add schemas. Okay, so we have schemas. So it is saying Databricks schemas, and I don't think schema, also called as database, is the second layer of Unity catalog. Yes, because you use three level naming space. So it is saying if you want to create schema, let's see how to create a schema. Databricks schemas, then create, and then -h. Okay, so let's go to usage. So it is saying Databricks schemas create, because you want to create schema, then we want to name it. And then we also want to specify catalog name, because if you have some fundamental information about Databricks, we always create schemas within the catalogs, right? And then we can just provide the flags if we want to just provide. Okay, so let's try to actually create one schema. Databricks schemas create, and it will be, let's say, bronze. Okay, or let's say bronze, really? Yeah, let's create bronze. Okay, bronze, and catalog name is asset bundles. Then profile dev, hit enter, and it will create the schema for us, and it is done. You can even check it if you just want to use. So if you go to here, click on asset bundles, and let's just refresh. See, we have bronze schema, and we simply used CLI command for creating this particular bronze schema. Perfect. And what it did behind the scenes, it simply made the post API, okay, post, or basically maybe put, basically REST APIs. Okay, so they know like how they are just creating the schemas. It totally depends, because it API infrastructure is totally owned by the creator of the API. So behind the scenes, it made REST API calls to create this particular bronze schema, and we didn't make the API calls. We simply wrote some, you can say, CLI commands. That's it. So this is all about, you can say, your Databricks CLI. Simple. So this way you can just interact with it. Why it was important? Because Databricks Asset Bundles command is purely built on top of your CLI, Databricks CLI. You have to use Databricks CLI commands to even create the bundle, even to initiate the bundle, and you will see it right now as well. Now let's talk about Databricks Asset Bundles. Like, what are Databricks Asset Bundles? Even before talking about Databricks Asset Bundles, you should know about CI/CD. Basically, if I search DevOps, if I go to Wikipedia, if I have any kind of visual that I can use. No? Oh man, Wikipedia adds some visuals. If I use GitLab, Do we have any nice visual? No. Okay, we do not need your visuals. Okay, we can use this visual. Okay, it is from Wikipedia. Nice. So basically this is the loop, endless loop that we work with. So let's say this loop starts from here. It is called the planning phase, where we simply plan our work and everything. Okay, that we want to build this, we want to build this, we want to build this. Then comes the code base structure part. We simply define the code base. Then we actually build it. Okay, and we test it in this particular area. Makes sense? Then we make a release. Release is like release 1, release 2, release 3 of your project. Then you deploy it to different environments, prod. Okay, and once it is in prod, you actually make it live, that it can be used by all the users. Then you simply monitor it. If there are some changes required, if let's say there are some enhancements required, you again plan it and do all the things. Make sense? So this is your planning phase. Okay, so that's all starts and that never ends. Those are like endless loop of CI/CD. So this left part is your dev part, the right part is ops part. The left part is continuous integration part, the right part is continuous deployment part. So asset bundles fit into the right part of your deployment area. Make sense? So now let's talk about asset bundles. So if we talk about asset bundles are the, you can say, new way to deploy your changes to different environments, QA, prod, and all those things. Make sense? It makes your CI/CD workflow easy, more efficient, and more easy to, let's say, change, configure at any moment. So if we read a little bit, Databricks Asset Bundles are a tool to facilitate the adoption of SDLC, which is software development lifecycle, okay, and which is like the backbone of CI/CD. Bundles provide a way to include metadata alongside project source files and make it possible to describe Databricks resources such as jobs, pipelines as source files. And everything will be crystal clear once you will be just seeing all those things. Okay, this is like theory part, conceptual part. Ultimately, a bundle is an end-to-end definition of a project. This is very important. That means in the bundle, you will see each and everything within that bundle. Okay, including how the project should be structured, tested, deployed, targets, environment, profiles, everything. So your bundles project collection of source files and metadata is deployed as a single bundle to your target environment. The bundle includes required infrastructure, source files such as notebook, Python files, definitions and settings for Databricks resources, DLT pipelines, unit test, integration test, everything. Everything will be bundled together into a folder. That is why it is called Databricks Asset Bundles, DAP. So following is the diagram that provides high level development CI/CD cycle. Make sense? And I think this is like very obvious. And it is saying, when should I use Databricks Asset Bundles? Every time. So some ideal scenarios for bundles include develop data analytics ML projects in a team-based environment. Bundle can help you organize and manage various source files efficiently. This ensures smooth collaboration and streamlined processes. And there are like so many other things as well that you can read. How do Databricks Asset Bundles work? Do not need to worry, because that is why this video is here. Requirements, all the things are there. You must install Databricks CLI. I told you that is why it is the backbone of Asset Bundles. Okay, and Databricks runtime version. If you're not using serverless, if you're using serverless, it's fine. And you can also see Databricks version. This part is also done. So you have all the groundwork ready and all the information ready. How do I get started with bundles? We gonna talk about this thing now. Let's see how you can just initialize everything. Okay, let's see. So now, as you know, that we have some basic understanding and we know that our folder is still empty. Let's try to create our bundle folder structure within this. How we can create that? Just go to the terminal. Okay, and now simply write Databricks bundle init. This is the command that we use to initialize the bundle. Okay, hit enter and it will ask us which template we want to use. Simply hit enter because we want to use default Python. Okay, hit enter. Then it is saying unique name for this project. Let's say I want to say dab tutorial. Simple, just a project name. Hit enter. Include a sample notebook. Yeah. Include Lakeflow declarative pipeline. Yeah, sure. Then Python package and yeah, sure. Use serverless compute, yes, because that is the only option that we have. Hit enter and that's it. So we have our Databricks bundle created, and you can even see this folder created automatically. The moment I open this folder, you will see so many things. See, all these things are related to the bundle. All these things are important. All these things are the backbone of the bundle, and you will master it one by one. Okay, make sense? Okay, let me just close this particular terminal for a second. Okay, first of all, let's talk about like what is this particular folder. DApp tutorial. Basically, this is the folder which will recognize your project as a bundle project, or basically bundled project. Okay, so you can actually go inside this folder. It will be better for your environments. You do not need to write cd, which is change directory, every time you want to run a terminal. So what I will do, I will simply go to file and then open folder, and make sure you are inside this particular folder directly, this DApp tutorial. Okay, let me do that. So now I am inside this particular folder, as you can see, DApp tutorial. Now I'm no longer inside the asset bundles folder, because we are now inside the bundle. Make sense? Very good. Let's start with the first folder. It's called .databricks. What is this .databricks? Basically, .databricks folder is the log, is the transactional log for this particular bundle. If I open this, if I open bundle, if I see sync snapshots, there's nothing, but there will be a lot of things here that we'll be just covering later in this video, because this is very, very important. Okay, but I just want to give you some hints that this is a kind of, you can say, database or transactional log for our bundle, similar to Delta log in Delta Lake, similar to .git folder in Git, right? So that's all. So after .databricks, now let's talk about these folders. Like, you can ignore .vs code, it is just for the VS code. These are the major ones: fixtures, resources, scratch, source, test, and these 4 files. Okay. Now, in your case, it can be different as well. It depends what you have chosen while configuring the Databricks Asset Bundles. Remember, it was asking me, do you need this? So in every time I pressed yes. That's why they have created these demo folders, because these are not empty folders. There is something that I will be just removing it for sure, but just to show you this folder structure. I personally like this folder structure. That's why I always hit yes, yes, yes. And then I just manually delete those files and I use these folder structures. In your case, if you are not seeing these folder structures, it's fine. It is not like you have to use the same exact naming convention for these folder structures. Even if you just remove these things, it's fine. It's fine. So it's totally up to you, like how you want to just configure your project, right? That's all. Personally, I like this particular folder structure because it makes sense whenever we just put something. Okay. So you can also try to keep this naming convention even if you do not have anything inside it. If I open fixtures, it is just empty, but just a .git key file, which makes sure that this folder is also tracked. Then we have resources, and I just told you that we have 2 things. I can delete it because we do not need to worry about that thing. Okay, perfect. Now, if I see scratch, I can also remove this as well, but I like to keep this file. Why do we have this scratch? Scratch is the short form for Scratchpad. Let's say you are building a Databricks Asset Bundles, right? You need to keep one file that you do not want to deploy it with your bundle. You do not want to track the changes within that, but you just want to keep it there so that you can simply apply some quick analysis, quick data reading, quick prototypes, simple. And this folder is ignored in our .gitignore file as well, as you can see, scratch. Okay, there are some other things that are also ignored, and we will just look at that as well. Then we have source. Source is very, very important. This is the folder where you keep all the source code, notebooks, files, scripts, all the things within this particular folder. Okay, so obviously it is also not empty. So let me just make it empty. Okay, perfect. Let's say delete and delete. Perfect. So now in the test, we have 2 test files that we do not need. Okay, delete. Now This is, you can say, skeleton of our project in which we do not have any file, any notebook, but yes, we are simply using the folders. Okay, makes sense? Very good. So now if I go to Databricks, so you will see that if you click on home, then you will see just this thing, maybe even not this, because in some workspaces it will not be there. It's not like the thing that should be there every time. But let's say you have these things, okay, and even I can simply remove it if I don't want to keep it. Okay, let's remove this. Okay, now we have like nothing here, right? Nothing. So now I will just create an environment. It's called prod environment. Okay, it's called prod environment. We will be using it later on, but let me just show you. Okay, let's create a folder. It's called prod. Makes sense. Okay, so this is the environment. If you go to home, you have prod here. Very good. So just keep it as it is. We do not need to do anything. Okay, so this environment is created. Very good. So now what we need to do, we, let's say, want to develop something. Okay, you are developing something, you are developing some notebooks, right? So let's say within the source folder, you want to create another folder. It's called notebooks, and within the notebook folder you want to create a just a Python file, let's say, or let's say notebook 1.ipynb. Now ipynb is the extension for the notebook, which is called ipython notebook. Okay, so this is the notebook. Okay, and let me just add a code, and I will simply say print hello world. So just like this. Okay, and you can even convert it into Python from this particular thing, and you can even run it. If you run this, and actually you do not need to run this, we are simply writing any code, like any demo code, any Python code, anything, right? So this is the code. So let's say this is the notebook that we have created, and obviously you cannot write your Spark code here because you do not have cluster attached to it. Okay, so simply the development part, not we are not executing anything. Okay, so let's say you have just developed this notebook one, simple. Okay, now let's say this is your whole bundle. This is everything that you need to deploy. That's it. See, whenever you just work in the real world project, right, you work in the agile methodology. Okay, you work in iterations, in sprints. So let's say in the sprint one, okay, you just develop 2 to 3 notebooks and that's all you want to deploy. It's not like in the sprint one you want to deploy all the things, deploy all the jobs, deploy all the pipelines. You have created everything in sprint one. Not really, right? You simply created one notebook and you simply need to deploy it. Simple. Okay, so now how you can just deploy this? Now you will open the terminal. Okay, now what you will do, you will simply open your databricks.yaml file as well along with this terminal, or you can simply turn off the terminal for now. Just simply open this one. Okay, so this is what is this? This is basically your YAML file. This is your YAML file, which stands for int markup language or yet another markup language. And just for the detail, you can simply search YAML, not full form. Yeah, YAML, int markup language, yet another markup language. Some people say it as well. Basically, what is this? Have you ever seen JSON file? Obviously. Okay. YAML is the human readable format for JSON, because sometimes when you are just writing JSON and you are just simply storing so many hierarchical things, it becomes messy to read and interpret JSON. But YAML is more human readable. That is why it is written human readable format. It is easy to read, easy to interpret. So this, all the configuration files basically in the world of CI/CD, in the world of DevOps, they prefer YAML because they need to configure so many key value pairs. They cannot just go with JSON. They cannot. And you can even write YAML cheat sheet if you just want to understand the syntax and all. And it's very simple. It's not critical. YAML syntax, let's say cheat sheet and quick reference. Okay. Yeah, I think this is also good. you can simply, like, basically I'm not just highlighting only 1 to 2 websites. You can simply go to any website just to have a quick understanding of YAML, like how they work. Usually, let me just show you directly in our bundles file. Okay. And you can even just use any, you can say LLM as well, and just ask, hey, I just want a detailed YAML cheat sheet. They will just give you. That's not a big deal. So how to interpret it? Basically, every key value pair starts with this. Okay. And we do not put double quotes. That is one of the differences. Then let's say you have any kind of list. Let's say you have a list, something like this. My list or list equals this 1, 2, 3. So in the language of YAML, you write it like this. Let's say list, and then you can simply say 1, then 2, then 3, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You can also write inline list as well, but this is a recommended approach, and that is why you are seeing hyphen and then this. That means include is a list, and these are all the items within the list. Okay. So let's go through this bundle file one by one. Is that a bundle file? Yes, because this is the backbone of bundle. That is why I call it as bundle file, because this takes care of everything that we need to do. Okay. So let me just remove unnecessary stuff. You can remove artifacts. It's fine. Include, you can skip it. Okay. Let's start from the top. Bundle. So this is our bundle name, DAP tutorial, and this will match with your project name, and this should match. Okay. Then UUID, just the identifier. No need to worry about that. Then what is this include? For now, you need to ignore this, but don't worry, I will just cover very, very soon. Okay. So let's go to targets. Basically, we create something called as targets, dev, prod, it can be QA as well, testing environment, right? So what we do basically, we simply use these particular targets to deploy to different environments. Okay. And as you can see, this is automatically filled, but obviously we need to change a lot of stuff. So it is saying the default target uses mod development. Okay. To create a development copy, and deployed resources get prefixed with dev my username. This is very, very important. Let's focus on this part. Basically, this thing is the default behavior for your dev environment, and you will see this thing when we will be just deploying our stuff in the Databricks workspace, and you will see like what do we mean with this, because this is really, really important. And for now, I will say just ignore these things, because you need to learn these things step by step. So just focus on directly on this part. Okay. Not even prod. It's fine. So it is mod development, default true, and workspace is this one, which is saying host. That's it, right? That's it. So this is basically our target for dev environment, because obviously whenever you just create any kind of CI/CD flow, we first deploy to dev, then dev to QA or prod, whatever you want to do once the testing is done, right? So this is all about your dev environment. Make sense? So what do we need to do in the dev environment? Like how we can just take care of those things and how we can just do all those things, right? So in that particular scenario, you will use your CLI. And what in CLI? Exactly like what in CLI? Basically, there's a command for bundle that I can show you. So if you write Databricks bundle, then -h. Here are all the commands that you have. You have deploy, you have deployment, you have destroy, you have generate, you have init. We have already used init, and we have so many other things as well. So it should be very obvious that if we want to deploy something, it will be ready to deploy, right? Okay. So now if I type Databricks bundle deploy, and then I need to specify target where I want to deploy. I want to deploy in dev environment. Okay. Just hit enter. And what it will do, building Python artifact, uploading file, uploading bundle to this file, and it will start uploading this particular bundle to our Databricks workspace, and it is done. Literally it is done. I can just show you in the workspace. So now if I refresh this part, home, okay, I should see this dot bundle. What is this? This is your bundle that you have created using your VS Code. Okay. If I open this, I will see the bundle project name. Just open this. You will see the environment name. Now open this. Now within that you have files. Okay. Just open this thing and you will see everything is here. Literally everything. Source, fixtures, .vs code and all those things. Now you can say why we do not have this resources folder, like why it is not deployed, because this folder is empty. This folder is what? This folder is empty. And obviously if you want to just deploy the things, you need to put something inside the folder. Okay, that is why it is empty. So we have source. If I open this, I will see my notebooks folder and notebook one. If I open this notebook, I will see the exact code that I have written. So this is the way that you deploy the thing. This is like very fundamental stage. We haven't covered any real world scenario, anything, just for the understanding. This is the way you deploy the bundles. This is the way. And you will see all these things, right? And don't worry, we're going to just create some realistic scenarios as well. So do not need to worry about that. So this is the way you create the notebook, or basically you create some stuff, right? Okay, makes sense. So now if we go back to basically VS Code, let me just turn off all the terminals. Okay, perfect. So this was your development. Okay, this was your development environment. That's it, dev environment. And this was like very basic, you can say, example that obviously we need to just deploy so many things other than just notebooks. So now we need to cover that thing. So let's say you want to, so now you understood how to deploy notebooks, right? Simple. When you just want to deploy notebooks, you can simply deploy it. Why scratch folder is not deployed? Because you know the reason. It is in the .gitignore folder. Very good. Now let's say you have your source, okay, in this particular folder, and you can literally save this file as well. Perfect. So now you have this particular folder called source. Okay, this one makes sense. Now you know how to deploy notebooks. Whatever you write, you can deploy it. Makes sense. But let's say you have a job. Which job? Databricks workflow job. And you want to deploy that job as well, along with this bundle. How you can just do that? And let me just elaborate. Let's say you have some job in the jobs and pipelines. Currently it is empty, but let's say you have some jobs and you want to deploy the jobs as well. That is the trickier part. And I would say that is a more realistic and real world scenario. Makes sense? Because once you develop the notebooks, you want to develop the jobs to orchestrate those notebooks. Make sense? Obviously, we just develop notebooks and we just develop pipelines, basically jobs to orchestrate those things. Make sense? Okay, very good. How you can just do that? It is very, very simple. In order to do that, okay, first of all, it is basically recommended that you should always use Databricks UI to create the job. Because what is job? What is UI? There's a code behind it. Whatever you are using, drag and drop thing, there's a code behind it. So obviously you can write the job using code, which is almost impossible to write the accurate code. Okay. So that is why the recommended approach is just create the job using Databricks UI and just get the code once it is created. Make sense? Makes sense. And let me just open some documentation as well. Databricks bundle, just to show you some graphics if they are available, just for a better understanding. We are inside asset bundles overview. Okay, so this thing is already created. Authentication is very, very important. Bundle authentication, and I would say not even this, just go to configuration. Configuration is the backbone of it. So currently you have seen bundle, targets, blah blah blah. This is the section called specification. This is the detailed introduction of your databricks.yaml file, and everything is there, and we need to include almost everything. Don't need to worry. Okay, then we have some examples, and don't worry about these things because this thing is the thing that we are just discussing right now. It is for resources. Okay, so now let's say you want to create a job, any job. Okay, let me just click on create and let's create a job. Now I want to orchestrate the notebook that we have deployed, notebook 1. Makes sense? Let's say I want to deploy, basically orchestrate that. That is my job. If you have 10 notebooks, you can obviously create more complex job. And if you just want to learn about Databricks jobs in detail, which is the very in demand topic right now for the data engineers, you can simply go on any browser and simply search Databricks Lakeflow jobs. Okay, Ansh, and this is the video, which is I think 3 hours long, and this has covered all the ins and outs of this particular Lakeflow jobs, which is very in demand. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to just learn more about Databricks Lakeflow jobs, you have the resource ready. But currently we are focusing on asset bundles, so you can simply bookmark that video, maybe like that video, so that it will be just going to your library, and you can just watch it later, because you cannot miss this particular part. So basically, let's say you want to orchestrate this particular notebook, and you want to say notebook. Basically, let's say ingestion. Maybe you are just ingesting some data. Okay. Now, what is the path? Now you need to pick the path, and you will simply pick bundle, dap tutorial, dev, files, then source, notebooks, and notebook 1. Click on confirm. Okay. Compute is serverless and create task. So this job is ready. This job is ready. If you click on jobs and pipelines, you will see this job. Let's first of all rename this job, because I do not like this name. Click on edit job and click here. Let's say demo job. Perfect. Now this job is, let's say, completed, and you develop the job using UI, because that is a recommended approach. Okay. Now, once the job is running, once the job is completed, you know, like it is running fine, let's deploy it. So you will simply click on these 3 dots, click on edit as YAML, and you will simply get this particular text. Basically, this is a code, YAML code. You need to simply get this code. Perfect. Okay. And you will go to VS Code editor and let's say you will paste that code here. Okay. Paste that code here. Resources. So what it will do? It will say, bro, whenever you will be deploying your bundle, you need to deploy this resource as well. And what is the resource? It's called jobs. And then obviously the detail of the jobs, like what it contains and whatever it has, right? Everything. Okay, makes sense. So now the better way to do is, because let's imagine you have 20 jobs, you have 30 pipelines. So will it make more sense to put everything in this particular file? Because this file is the parent file where we read everything related to targets, some kind of environment, variables, all those things. Does it make any sense? Obviously no. So what we do, we go to resources. Okay, we create, let's say, a folder, let's say jobs. Okay, within this jobs folder, I will create a file. I will call it as demo job .yaml. Okay, and within that file, I will paste that code and I will save this file. Now I do not need to put this code here. I will simply remove it and I will include that file in my this particular parent file. That is why we have this code resources *.yaml. That means if we have any YAML file in this particular folder, include that. If you create any subfolder within that, include that as well. That's what we have done, right? So that means now this code is already there, but it is not visible. It is hidden, but it is there. Make sense? The same way we just pasted the code here, but we simply wrote include. That's it. Make sense? Now let's talk about that YAML file, because now you understood the concept of resources. Now what it will do, it will simply deploy this resource. But just tell me one thing, is it a valid thing to deploy it like this? Yeah, what's wrong with it? Let me just tell you what's wrong with it. When it will be creating a job using this YAML, right? It will look for the notebook at this particular path, right? And what is this path? This is my path of my workspace, right? From where I have just got the notebook. That's what we not like that's what we do not need to just put. Why? Because this particular bundle will be deploying in multiple environments. Every environment doesn't have this particular email ID, right? So what we need to do, we need to provide the relative URL, relative path instead of the full path. So what is a relative path? If I am standing here in the demo job.yaml, and if I know that my notebook is here, how I can just go like this? So first of all, you will search for the file in the same folder. Okay. And for that we use dot notation. If you just want to go one folder above, then you use double, basically two dot notation. Make sense? Make sense? So that's exactly you need to do, because you have two level folders. You have first of all jobs, and then you have resources. So I will simply remove everything and I will write something like this. Let's say dot dot and then dot dot. Make sense? So what it will do? It will simply tell that, hey, you first need to look for, let's say, two level up, and basically two level up, and then you need to go to the source folder. And after going to the source folder, then you need to go to the notebooks folder and then notebook one. This is called like relatively specifying the path. Now just tell me one thing, like, is it good to just define, you can say, relative path, or is it bad? Because see, once you have defined the path, okay, this will be used for all the environments, QA, prod, testing, and all those things. So would you like to just provide this whole URL every time? Because it will not find the files every time, because it is only available for my Databricks dev workspace, not for other workspace. So in that particular scenario, you always write this relative URL so that you can simply search for that particular file within the bundle. You do not need to go to, let's say, that particular URL or that particular notebook path. So that is the advantage. So just keep in mind and just take notes for this particular thing, because this is really, really important. Okay, so let's say you have this job, and now let's deploy this bundle for one more time and let's see what happens. Let's use this command and hit deploy. Error notebook, it will say source notebooks notebook one not found. So it is saying, hey, what is this? It is saying local notebook references are expected to contain one of the following. Exactly. This is the error that you may or may not see. So it is saying notebook one is not there. You will say, bro, notebook one is there, but it is saying it is not there. The thing is, it is treating notebook one as a folder, but notebook one is not a folder. It is a file. So by default, whenever we just configure jobs, it doesn't put this particular extension by default. So we have to put it like this, .ipynb every time. Save the file and hit the command for one more time. And it is saying uploading, and deploying resources, updating, and done. Let's see what happened in our Databricks workspace. If I go to workspace, this is the bundle. Okay, DAP tutorial, then dev, then this time we have files, and this time we have resources as well. Why? Because now this time this folder is not empty. Make sense? And this is the jobs, and this is the demo job.yaml. Make sense? Make sense. Okay. Now, do you know what actually happened along with this? If you open jobs and pipelines, click here, you will see two jobs. Wow. One was created by you manually. This is created by the bundle with my name, dev Anshlambacollab AZ. Why? Let me just tell you. So if you see and if you read the file, the parent file, what it is written? It is written deployed resources get prefixed with dev my username by default. By default. And why it is so important? Why? Basically, this is called preset. This is called what? This is called preset that we just defined. Okay. So let me show you the documentation as well, like what formula it uses behind the setting the preset, because this is very important. And I will ask you one simple question and I hope you will be able to answer. Let's see. So let me just check if we have presets here. Let me search presets. I want to see that formula. I think let's go to bundle configuration. Yeah, I think here we should have presets. Yes, perfect. So here we have preset, custom presets. Oh yeah, deployment mods. Yeah, we got it. So basically this is the area. So custom presets. So what is this custom presets and what are presets? Basically presets should be there. Okay. And presets will be there, especially for dev environment, especially, and for QA and prod it's optional because it is not actually required, but dev it should be there. That is why it says Databricks Asset Bundle supports configurable presets for targets. Okay, we know that dev, QA, prod, which allows you to customize the behavior for targets. Okay, and then here is the presets available. It is saying name prefix, which it is using behind the scenes. See, if you read this particular thing, the following example shows a custom preset configuration for target named dev. So what it is doing, it is defining a kind of custom preset. So currently it is using dev by default. Why? You simply read the documentation, right? So now we can also say that, hey, I want to use the prefix called testing instead of dev, or let's say you want to use something called as development instead of dev. So you can actually add that particular prefix using this particular thing. So whatever the name of your resource will be, it will add this prefix. It's called name prefix, and by default it uses something called as, I think, workspace dot short name something. Let me just search if it is available. Workspace short name, something like that. Yeah, here is the formula. So by default for the dev environment, it uses this particular formula. It's called dev, then workspace dot current dot, basically current user dot short name. This is the thing. That is why I am getting dev and then anshlambacollab AZ. That is why I'm getting these things. Make sense? But you can just change it. It's up to you. Okay. Let's say I want to add a preset. Okay. Let's add our own preset. And let's say we want to add name prefix. Okay. So how we can just do that? I will simply go to presets. Maybe here. Ideally, we should add it after mode so that it is more readable, or maybe after default presets. And then we have name prefix. Name prefix. Perfect. So now here I can also put presets like this, and I don't know like why it is showing red. Let me check the syntax. Is anything wrong? Maybe it doesn't like this double quotes. Sometimes it asks us to, but sometimes it ignores. Yeah, we simply use single quotes if we are using brackets, but it's fine. Or we can just use it, because sometimes I ignore it, but it's fine. Okay, so now if you see this anshlambacollab AZ or anything, let's say I want to add dev as well, dev underscore anshlambacollab AZ. So this time what will happen? So this time it will always add this particular prefix instead of using dev space my username. But ideally you should not do this. Why? Because let's imagine, and why do we actually need this? Why it is the default behavior? Let's say you are the developer. Okay, you are developer 1. You deployed this job. Makes sense. And it is with your name. If it was not the default behavior, what would have happened? It would simply say, hey, you want to deploy this job with name demo job, it will deploy that. Let's say there's another developer who also deployed the same job, and obviously the name will be same, so it can create a conflict. But right now, even if any other developer deploys this job with the same name, it is not a problem, because I will get a different, you can say, prefix, the other person will get a different prefix. So there is no conflict. And that is the behavior we see in the dev environment. That is the difference, that why we need to just put this particular preset every time. And even if you do not put it, Databricks puts it for you, because they know like you are not smart enough or you will be just missing it. Okay, makes sense. So let's try to add our custom preset. So this is our VS Code file as we know, and I think let's remove this particular list because I think this was not there. Perfect. So now let's customize our name prefix because we do not want to hardcode this because this value should be dynamic, right? So let's put this one that we have just seen. Okay, there's one more property that we need to define. It's called source linked deployment. What is this? And we need to make it false every time, because just try to understand. It's a little bit tricky, but with the course of time, the more you work with asset bundles, you will understand this better. But just for the understanding, let's try to look at this. So basically, what is this source link deployment? So if you remember, when we created the job, we use notebook directly from the .bundle folder. That is why every time we will be getting that location in our, you can say, notebook path. But the thing is, if we do not make it false, if we do not make it false, what will happen? So if you have, let's say, some notebooks, okay, which are not used from this particular source folder. So let's say this notebook one is also there, okay, and notebook one is also there in your Databricks any folder. Okay, you simply use that notebook and you created the job. Okay, you pasted the YAML here, then you change this particular notebook path and you said, hey, I know that I used the notebook from a different location, but you need to use notebook from this particular location. But it will not do that. Why? Because this is the default behavior. So you need to make it false and you need to say, hey, you do not need to use the source linked path. You always need to rely on this one. So you are simply overriding it, right? So just make it false. Okay, that's it. And then simply say Control S. And now let's try to deploy this bundle. And now let's see what gets changed. So hit this and it will simply say uploading files, deploying resources, updating deployment state and deployment complete. Okay, so let me show you one more thing. Let's try to delete this folder. And now let's try to deploy this, because this will, you can say, deploy everything from zero. And after deleting this, I will just show you the importance of this particular folder. Okay, now let's go to Databricks and you will see that, okay, we have two jobs. You will say, where is our second job? Like where the one which was created before. Basically it is with the new name because we have just provided this new name. Okay, that's the only reason. Perfect. And obviously we have a bundle here, .bundle, and tab tutorial, dev, files, and all the things are there. Perfect. So that's how you create jobs and deploy the jobs as well using Databricks Asset Bundles. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Very good. Now let's see what is the importance of this .databricks folder and how asset bundles track changes within this particular .bundle folder. How? Basically, this .databricks, as I just mentioned, is the transactional log, is basically the version control system. If you click on this folder, click on bundle and click on sync snapshots and you will see this JSON. What is this JSON? Let me just open it because you have already deployed it one time. That is why you have this. This is basically the snapshot when it was last deployed. Listen to me carefully. This is the snapshot when it was last deployed. Okay, so now let's say within this notebook folder, okay, you add another notebook. Let's say notebook2.ipynb. Okay, you do this and you have simply, let's say, print statement, hello bro. Perfect. Okay, you have this. Now if you want to deploy it for one more time, if you write this command, let's say deploy bundle target dev, what will happen? It will check this file before deploying it. It will what? It will check this file before deploying it to the target. It will simply say, I have this change, I have this change, I have this change. So it has like all the timestamps. Okay, and it will say no file is actually changed after this. No file is actually changed after this. So that means I do not actually need to deploy anything. Okay, so this is basically the snapshot that we have. So it will simply say, okay, I do not need to do anything because I didn't change anything. Okay. So now if I say notebook one, where is notebook one? Here. So it is saying 951. It was changed at 951. Okay. If I change it, let's say now, hello bro. If I just change it, okay. And if I just open it, let's say, let me just close it and let me just reopen it. So what will happen? What will happen? It will simply say this notebook one is already there. This notebook one is already there. Okay. And we have another notebook, notebook 2. Okay. So it will say that means notebook 2 is not there. That means I need to just incrementally deploy the changes. Okay, that's how it keeps a track of your changes. Now, if I run this command, target dev, and it is deployed, now you will see this is changed. Why? It is saying notebook was changed at 10:30 and this was also changed at 10:30, like 10:29, 10:30. Make sense? So what it does, it keeps a track of all those things. Notebook 1, notebook 2. So currently it has just deployed two things, notebook 1 and notebook 2. Why? Because only notebook 1 was changed and notebook 2 was added. All the other resources, all the other folders were intact. So all the timestamps of previous things are as it is. Make sense? And that is why you will see in your Databricks, if I refresh, you will see source, and in the notebooks, you have both the notebooks. Now, to prove my point, I will simply delete notebook 1. Okay. Delete what? Delete notebook 1. Now there is no notebook 1. If I go to VS Code, if I run the same command again, do you know what will happen? Do you know what will happen? It will not deploy notebook 1. Let me just show you. If I refresh, I still have notebook 2. Why? Because as I just mentioned, before deploying, it will simply check this file. It will simply say, do we have any kind of changes? No. Do we have any kind of new notebooks or anything new? No. That means I do not have anything to deploy. Okay. And you will say, Ansh Lamba, you deployed notebook 1 from there, so it should be deployed there. Yes, but it doesn't know that it doesn't have any kind of notebook 1. It doesn't know. Make sense? So in order to do these things, because let's say you by mistakenly, you can say you deleted something directly from the target by mistake. I know, like, you are human, you can just make mistakes. You are not any kind of machine. But let's say you made a mistake. Then in that scenario, you would need to apply a full refresh of your bundle. That is the ideal scenario and recommended approach. That way you will not miss anything. Okay, you can even delete this .databricks. What will happen in that scenario? There will be no logs, there will be no history. That means everything is new. It will deploy everything. Or you can do one thing, you can simply remove that particular thing, notebook 1, okay, and save this file, and now deploy this, and it should deploy notebook 1 as well. Okay, it is saying, okay, it is interesting. It is saying uploading file, it is saying notebook 1 is missing its last modified time. Exactly, because it doesn't have its last modified time, because it keeps a track of all the last modified time. So if you have any notebook, let me show you deployed version. If you have any notebook which was deployed in the past and you make some changes and delete it and do whatever, now you do not have any last modified date, so that it cannot actually compare it. It can create a mess. And obviously this time we just have like 1 to 2 lines of code. Just imagine when you have like 1,000 lines of code. That is why it is recommended delete the whole folder, remove the history, and deploy it for one more time. Target dev. Simple. And if I scroll down, it is saying deployment complete. Let's see, now we have notebook 1 there. And if I go to jobs and pipelines and let me just refresh, you will see obviously the jobs are there, which is called dev Ansh Lamba easy, then demo job. Make sense? That's how it keeps a track of all your this is like very insider information or very advanced information. But if you have this kind of information, just imagine the confidence you will be carrying while answering the asset bundle questions in interview. Just imagine the impact you will create on the second person's, you can say, brain or any kind of thing. And that will actually assure the next person that, okay, you are the one who can actually fit into that role into that role that they want to fill. Okay. So these are the things. You need to know all these things as well, along with just, hey, Databricks bundle deploy, Databricks bundle, blah, blah, blah. Bro, these are the things. These are the concepts you need to understand, because there's a difference between understanding, deep understanding, and just copy and pasting the code that is available on documentation. So there's a difference, right? Because everyone nowadays can just do copy and paste thing. We have AI. We can simply integrate AI within the notebooks, and I think Databricks has already integrated it. So if you just want to search for any CLI command, it can just fill that code for you. The difference will actually be coming into the picture when you know and you understand what is happening. Before AI, it was all about how to do it. That's it. But now you need to understand what's going on. You need to go beyond how to do it. Everyone knows how to do it. Go on any AI LLM, search, they will tell you how to do it, step-by-step approach. And they will even just write the code for you. I also have this particular, you can say, GitHub agent. It can just write the whole code, but you need to understand. Make sense? That is why I create like long hours video tutorials so that you can understand. But I know a few people simply say, this boy is making video lengthy no matter what. Bro, if you are just looking for the code, obviously you will say this rubbish thing. But if you know the value that you're getting along with the code, along with the things, you will appreciate it. And I know most of you appreciate it, but yeah, there are some, you can say, exceptions that we need to just take along with us. Okay. Yeah, just ignore. Okay, perfect. So this was all about your deployment. Now, so far we are deploying everything in our dev environment. Make sense? Now, let's say you want to deploy to the prod environment. How you can just deploy to the prod environment? Okay, that is challenging. So first of all, we have just one workspace. So we will simply use the same host, which is called this one. Make sense? Okay, but that is not the big thing, because big thing is like what I'm just going to tell. Because let's say you have two workspaces, you can simply put that host. That's fine. It's not a big deal, right? So now I will say permissions, because whenever we just promote the changes, we do not want everyone to, let's say, manage the resources, or let's say can do some changes in the resources. So that is why we define something called as permissions, and we can say username. Ansh Lamba easy, only this person can manage the resource. Ideally, in the real-time scenario, we use something called as group name, like this. Let's say group name. Okay, and group name can be admins. It will be there, and if it is not there, you can create the group using Databricks settings. Okay, like going here, settings and groups, identity. Yeah, groups. Okay, we have 3 groups. You can actually create one if you want to. Okay. So that's how you can just create groups. And I will simply say can manage, like all the admins can manage this particular resource. Okay. And I also want to change the root path, because if you remember, we created our prod environment within our dev workspace. It is called workspace users ID, then prod. So I will change that here and I will add it prod. So what will happen? It will deploy this bundle in our prod environment. And you can imagine that in the real-time scenario, when you have like multiple workspaces, because I don't want you to spend something, or maybe it can be more if you do not know how to manage clusters. So in the real world scenarios, it will be like different workspace like this, and the host will be different. That's it. And you know like how to just create profiles, right? So it's fine. Now let's talk about one thing. Now we are just going to deploy to prod. Okay. You didn't ask me a question like, Ansh Lamba, whatever bundle commands we are using, we are not specifying profile. And you mentioned that it does everything using profile. Yes. So let me just answer that question. Whenever we define target, it looks for host, okay, and it searches that host in our profiles file, and if that host is mentioned there and if it is already authenticated, it will simply automatically authenticate all the requests behind the scenes. So we do not need to write profile again and again. You can write profile like while deploying it, but it is not required. It is fine. Make sense? Okay, very good. So now what we can do, let me show you what we can do. Now, let's say you want to deploy to prod, right? Makes sense. Now, before deploying to prod, we just change the route path. Makes sense. And we also talked about like why we do not need to use any kind of, you can say, profile. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. So far, so good. But now, what will happen, let's say, if we deploy this thing to here? And first of all, let me just remove that particular jobs and pipelines because it will be deployed with the same name and it can create problem. And let's delete the original one. Okay, perfect. So now, before deploying to critical environments, you should always validate, you should always perform some checks. So there are some commands such as, let's say, Databricks bundle, and obviously you can hit H just to see all the commands. And some of the popular commands are validate and all those things. See, validate. There is also called as summary. So let's use these commands because these are like very, very important. So let's say I want to see the validation. So I will simply say Databricks bundle, okay, deploy, and I am deploying it to target prod, and I want to see the summary of it. And I can write summary here. I want to see the summary of it before deploying it. What will happen? Let's hit enter, and this is the thing. It will say, hey bro, this is the host, okay, this is the user who is deploying, this is the path where it will be deployed, and it will be deployed to prod folder. That is fine, okay, and this is the folder name prod. Very good. And it is saying these are the resources which will be deployed, job. That's it. Perfect. So that means like it is good so far. Let's say I want to validate it as well. So I'll simply say Databricks bundle validate. Okay. So it is saying name, this, target, prod, these are the things, and found one warning. That is fine. And now let's deploy this bundle to prod. Okay. It is saying Databricks bundle deploy. I wrote prod. So bundle deploy, target prod. So now it will be deploying our pieces to prod environment. Okay, deploying resources, and error cannot permission. It is fine because whenever you use, let's say, free edition, you do not have like all the permissions. So that is why it is saying this thing, but it is fine. Even after the statement will deploy the resources if nothing is wrong with any kind of other stuff. Make sense? Okay, so let's see our resources. So I can see one job deployed, and this is deployed by bundle. And you will say, Ansh Lamba, how we can just trust you? Simply open this job and you will see that thing. Go to tasks, and it is written this task was deployed as a part of bundle. Avoid editing this copy, instead edit the source and see. So this was deployed by the bundle. If I go to workspace, if I go to prod, I will see dot bundle inside this dot basically prod folder, because now this is a prod environment which is like totally different. I will go to bundle, and this is DAP tutorial, and then prod, and then all the things are here. See, source, resources, fixtures, and all those things. And we should see both the notebooks, notebook 1, notebook 2. So everything is there. Everything is there. Now, if you just go to .databricks, you will see Ansh Lamba. Now, which snapshot will be used to identify the incremental changes? So basically, .databricks will keep environments separate. See, dev and prod. Oh, so dev has a different snapshot, prod has a different snapshot. Make sense? So that is the power of .databricks. It is like the transactional log behind it. So that's how you deploy the changes using your CLI, using your local development, using your VS Code editor with Databricks. This is like very basic and very fundamental knowledge. Now you can literally deploy almost anything, because now you have a strong fundamental base ready. But that's not all. as I just mentioned in the beginning of the video, I will also show you how you can deploy the bundles using Databricks repos as well, because there is a huge demand coming from Databricks repos. They want to just basically repos are renamed as Git folders, Databricks Git folders. So I will just show you how you can just use Databricks Git folders to create everything, to use web terminal and to deploy the things. And we will also see how we can just deploy DLT with the latest code editor, which is like quite very tricky when we just want to deploy with local development. Why? Because latest code editor is only available with this particular Databricks UI. And as you know, like Databricks also wants like almost like they prefer local development, but sometimes they also want to see like if the user is able to use Databricks UI, who like the organization. Maybe organization will not allow you to use VS Code editor. Why? Because sometimes not every organization supports using terminal, like local terminal, because you can literally run anything with that local terminal. Make sense? It is risky. So in the real world, in big organizations especially, they try to keep everything on the cloud so that the risk is very, very low, because you will be using web terminal. You will not be able to call anything using your local terminal. So I need to just help everyone, because maybe you are just planning for bigger organizations. So in that scenarios, you will be using Databricks UI. Makes sense? Sometimes they can just allow you if you have the privileges, if you are the trusted person, obviously they can allow you, it's fine. But if you are like, let's say that is the requirement, you should be able to understand this thing, right? So now this part will just focus on covering the Databricks UI part. Okay. And before continuing with this, I would expect you to create your GitHub account. You should have your GitHub account and your GitHub repo ready. GitHub account and GitHub repo. Make sense? Make sense? It is very, very simple. Like how you can just create a GitHub account, GitHub repo. You can simply create it in just 5 minutes. Okay. Because you would need that particular repo. Okay. So I would expect you to just have your Databricks repo and not Databricks repo, GitHub account and GitHub repo ready. Okay. And if you have ready, let's get started with this part of the video. So now we're going to talk about Git folders. Basically, Databricks Git folders were previously known as Databricks repos, but now it is renamed as Git folders. Basically, Git folder is a way so that you can just work with different branches so that you will not overlap with any other changes. Again, if you have some fundamental knowledge about Git, you can easily understand Git folders. Make sense? I think it is like very common sense that in order to understand Git folders, you should have some Git understanding. Like what is Git? Git means, let's say you have some branches and if you just want to work in isolated environments and all those things. Again, if you do not have Git understanding, just go on any browser and just search Git Ansh or basically Git full course. If you just want to search the video. So this is the video that you can simply watch if you want to gain strong understanding about Git. Especially this video is like designed for data engineers, because Git is used by almost all the IT professionals, but this video is especially for data engineers, like what is Git and GitHub, all those things. So you should have some basic understanding. Okay. So now let's suppose like you have some basic understanding. Even if you do not have, just follow the instructions. You will be able to understand a lot of things that you do not know right now. Okay. So first of all, as I just mentioned, that you need to have a GitHub repo. Okay. So why do we need a GitHub repo? Because you need to attach your local repo with a remote repo. So GitHub repo will act as a remote repo. Makes sense? Basically a repository. So what you can do, simply go to your GitHub repo and simply create a repo. That's it. So now, this is my repo. Okay. GitHub repo, and you can click here just to increase the number. So yeah, just kidding. So yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you. Okay, I also need to update this banner. I think I have added a lot of certifications. We'll do it later. Okay, so let me just click on repositories. So basically these are the repositories. So for this particular purpose, I have created a private repo instead of public repo, which is called Asset Bundles. So this repo will not be visible to you because obviously you need to create your own repo. Okay, you need to just push your code, push your personal information, all about your Databricks, whatever you are doing in your repo. Okay, so you need to do it in your repo. So you need to create also a repo by clicking here new, and you can simply pick private or public. If you want to make it public, you can make it public, or private, it's up to you. Okay, both are same. Or actually you can explore this particular repo as well, because I just keep on adding some, you can say, surprises, you can say, just to help you so that you can also learn more and more. Okay, so I think when you will be just watching this video, there'll be something for you. You can just simply check and make sure, like, if anything is there for you, maybe any kind of link that you can use that. Okay, so if I just open this bundle, this is empty. There's nothing inside it, just a readme file. That's it. But that's all I want. Okay, so once you have set up your GitHub repo, okay, the next thing is simply go to your Databricks workspace. Okay, and here you need to click on your icon and click on settings. The first thing, you can say, the step 0 is creating a kind of linked service, basically the connection with your GitHub account. Make sense? So you will go to linked accounts and you need to link your GitHub account here. Click on add git credential and you can change the nickname as, let's say, GitHub. Okay, and there are two options, link git account and personal access token. Personal access token was the previous method, was the method that we were using before, but now Databricks says, hey, simply use link git account. What will happen? I will click on link and it will simply ask me to authorize it, and it's saying link success because it already had my credentials. So in your case, it will ask you to put your email ID and password and blah, blah, blah. Okay, very good. So now this credential is set up. Okay, in your case as well, I'm imagining that, okay, it will be done as well. Makes sense? So this linked account is set up. Very good. But it is not done yet. There are like so many things that you need to take care of, but don't worry, I'll just tell you while just showing you all the things. Okay. So let's first of all delete this bundle because we do not want to keep it, and this prod one as well, because we want to see how we can just do all those things using Databricks Git Folders. Okay, everything is deleted. Perfect. So now within this workspace, we need to create something called as Git Folders. There are multiple ways. Okay. First of all, I will create something called as Git folder. You can also do it same way. Click on home. This is the home page. Click on Git folder. Okay. Now it will say, I will create the Git folder for you, but what is the remote repo that I need to consider, or I need to just treat it as my, you can say, parent. So here you will go to your GitHub account, click on code, and you will copy this particular path. Okay. This is used for cloning. Okay. So once you put your URL, okay, it will automatically detect your GitHub provider, basically Git provider, which is GitHub, and Git folder name is Asset Bundles. You can even rename it, but usually you should keep it as it is, that you are getting from the remote repo. Click on create Git folder. So now it will create the Git folder for you, and this is your folder. If I click on home, this is the folder with this particular icon of repos. See, okay. And it has created the main branch as well, because main branch was there in your remote repo as well. Make sense? If I click here, I will see nothing but just a readme file, because readme file was there in the remote repo. So basically it syncs all the things. Make sense? Very good. Now you need to click on this button and you need to create a feature branch. You need to create what? Feature branch, because this is your main branch and it is not recommended that you should just do the changes directly in the main branch. So I will create a feature branch and I will name it as, let's say, feature Ansh, and I will click on create. Make sense? And it will take some time. In your case, you will see the error. I'm so sure. If you haven't worked with Git folders before, if you see the error, no need to worry. So what is the reason for that error? And first make sure that this is the branch coming here. Okay. And in your case, it is the error, I know. So the reason for error is, it will say, hey, you cannot create that branch because you do not have anything installed, blah, 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 blah. Simply click on the URL that will be the first URL. So when you click on that, it will ask you to install Databricks application in your GitHub account. Basically, simply say yes. The moment you install that particular GitHub application in basically Databricks application in your GitHub account, then you will be able to create this feature. It's like one-time task, so you can also do it. Once it is done, once that Databricks application is in your GitHub account, everything is fine. Okay. So don't need to worry. I have just told you how you can just troubleshoot this error. So now you are into the feature Ansh branch. Okay. Now we want to get started with the development. We want to get started with our bundle. Obviously, So for that, you would need to create a demo notebook. Why? I will just tell you. Let's say create and then notebook, and the name of the notebook will be, let's say, demo. Because we will not be using this notebook to do anything, simply attach the cluster and that's it. So this notebook is actually within the asset bundle folder, right? So why did we create this bundle? Why? Not bundle, like why did we create this notebook? Basically, in order to use a web terminal, we need to access any notebook because we need to access terminal through a cluster. In order to run any terminal, we need a cluster, and cluster is required. So there are two ways to open the terminal. You can click here and then click on, I think, web terminal. Okay, one way is this, or you can even click on this button. It will simply open a terminal within this notebook. Okay, similar to VS Code, and the moment you click here, you will see this terminal popping up. It will take, I think, 4 to 5 seconds, and then it will be here. Okay, perfect. So this is your terminal that you can use similar way you did it in your VS Code editor. Make sense? Okay. Obviously, now we will be just seeing some more real world scenarios related to Databricks Asset Bundles. We will also see how to work with latest version of Delta Live tables, which is pipeline code editor. We will also see how we can just use environment variables, all those things which require your cluster to process your data, right? Because in the local environment, local setup, you didn't connect your cluster with your VS Code. Obviously we can, but it's a hustle for you because you would need to install so many things, Databricks Connect, and then creating the virtual environment, then creating the cluster ID and all those things. Okay. And that is why we are just covering all those advanced topics with Databricks UI. And again, Databricks UI is in demand as well. Basically Git folders. So, okay. Before doing anything, you know that we first of all need to initialize the bundle, and you are very much familiar with the command. But the moment you will hit this command, let's say Databricks, let me just increase the size. Okay. Databricks bundle init, it will not work. Why? Because you are not in the right folder. You need to set the directory first of all. So you will simply say cd, okay, because you need to create a bundle, basically initialize the bundle inside your this folder, which is called asset bundles. Make sense? You need to create the asset bundle within this, right? So I'll simply say cd, and then I will say asset bundles. Now I am within the asset bundles. Now I can simply say Databricks bundle init. Okay. Now it will initialize the bundle for me. Make sense? Same questions. Before proceeding, where is my profile file? Basically .Databricks configuration. We do not need it here because we use configuration to, you can say, authenticate. Now my authentication is being taken care of through this UI. Make sense? Very good. So let's create the bundle with, let's say, project name, let's say dab project. Okay. Then yes, and it will create the folder for us, as you know. Okay. Makes sense. And we can check if it is there. Yes, dab project is there. So that means it has created this bundle. Let me just open this. Make sense? And let me just go inside this folder, and I will simply say cd, then dab project. So I am within this particular folder, which is dab project, and I can even open this terminal in a new window. It will be better. So simply click here. So it will simply start the session here in a dedicated window, which is better. So whenever we just want to run something, we will simply open this tab. Perfect. So now what we can do? So now we know that this is the folder structure. Okay. And now you are very much familiar with the things. Let me just remove all these things. Perfect. Resources are done. Source, you can remove the source. Okay. Perfect. And now obviously we're gonna just learn some advanced things. So be ready for it. And obviously it is, I think, right time to discuss about that because now you know a lot of things, right? So let me just open this databricks.yaml, which is the backbone of our bundle, and same stuff that we had in our local repo. Okay, let me remove artifacts because we are not covering wheels and all. Okay, include, very good. Host, we need to change the host because this is just a demo host. Okay, and there we got the exact host name. So we can simply change it right now. If I go to duplicate this tab, And if I shift it here, if I go to compute, SQL warehouse, connection details, host, simply get that host from here, or you can simply copy it from here as well. Okay, perfect. Let me just put it here, host. Okay, perfect. So this is my host, this is my host. Perfect. So all these changes we are making through the feature branch. Remember that. Okay, so this is our file. This file is part of an asset bundle. Switch to associated asset bundle. What is this associated asset bundle? Oh yeah, it is saying like which bundle is like associated with this. We know that, bro. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So now we have this file and we are already familiar with this file. So now let's say we want to develop something which is pretty much realistic. Okay. Because we have the cluster, we can develop our code, we can do all those things which were not possible. And once we do that, I will also show you how you can just create delta live tables, basically how you can just add DLT pipelines, the modern framework, the modern UI within the DAB. Okay. And before that, let me just tell you, if you just go to source, okay, we have nothing. Let's create a folder called notebooks. Perfect. And within this notebook, let's create one notebook. It's called, let's say ingestion. Make sense? Let's say ingestion. So now I will create this notebook. Okay, makes sense. And within this notebook, you would be just using so many variables. Okay, what do you mean by so many variables? So let's say you have some things called as when you are just reading data. Let's say you have different catalogs. You have bronze catalog, you have silver catalog, you have gold catalog. Makes sense? And you want to deploy your objects using the environment variables as well. Let's say you want to write something like this. Select asterisk from, I know that we have a catalog name. It is called, I think, asset bundles, because we created it using UI. Then default. Okay, we do not have anything in default. Let's say dot information schema. Then let's say we want to check columns. Okay, let's run this. Let's suppose like we want to run this. Okay, so let's try to run this and let's see, like this is the command. Okay, because I want to show you how you can just make your deployment dynamic and how you can just use environment variables within that deployment, because CI/CD is incomplete without environment variables. So you need to understand like how you can just use environment variables. Make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay, so it will take time obviously because this is like very first command that we are running. And now it is done, almost done. And I can actually copy this code here and I can simply run it as spark.sql. Okay, then do this. Perfect. So this is the command, okay, that we have got. Okay, makes sense. So this was the command, and this is like very basic command, but in reality you will be using so many realistic tables because I don't want to spend time to create some tables and do all those things. Let's say you want to create table, you have created some tables that you want to read from those tables. So you can treat this as your table name, which is columns. Okay, and this is your schema name obviously, and this is asset bundles. Make sense? Very good. Now I told you that you can imagine that you will be having different catalogs for different environments. Bronze catalog for bronze, your dev catalog for dev environment, QA catalog for your QA environment, gold catalog, not gold. What is the third? Prod. Prod. I was just being confused with medallion architecture. So prod catalog for prod environment. Make sense? So obviously this name should be dynamic. Make sense? And how we can just use basically parameters here. We have something called as dbutils.widgets.text, and then I will simply say catalog name. Let's say this is my variable that I want to create. Okay, let's run this. It will create a kind of dbutils UU2ules. It's utils, bro. dbutils. Perfect. So this is the parameter that is created. So let's say I want to use this. So I'll simply get this value, catalog name equals db-utils.features.get catalog name. Perfect. So here now I will use this particular variable name in this particular code, and I can just show you using spark.sql here like this. Let's say I'm using f string, and instead of hard coding this, I will simply attach the variable. The variable name is catalog name. Make sense? Okay, perfect. So this is my code, right? So whatever value I will just provide here, it will take that value. Let's say I provide asset bundles, it will take that value. Let me just run this. So it is saying spark.sql, blah, 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 blah. And I can also store it in df, then df and display df. Perfect. So this is my data frame behaving same. And let's say you have a different catalog for QA, you can write QA. If you have, okay, if you have just one, you will simply provide it like this. But you should have the capability to change this value in your job while deploying it. Make sense? Make sense? Very good. So now let's say if we want to create a job using this particular notebook, okay, and this particular notebook should be using dynamic values, basically environment variables, like how we can just create environment variables within our Databricks.yaml. Okay, makes sense. So in order to do that, let's quickly create a job for this particular notebook. Let's create job, and I will say ingestion, then select notebook, and it is, I think, users. Yeah, Ansh Lamba, and then asset bundles, then DApp project, then source, notebooks, ingestion, confirm. Okay, and we know that we have a parameter. So I will simply create a parameter called catalog name. Okay, and value will be anything because we will be just changing it. So I can simply say asset bundles, but I will be changing this value using my Databricks asset bundle. Okay, create task. So this task is created. Okay, so let me just rename this as well. Let's say ingestion job. Perfect. So this job is created like this, ingestion job. But for now, this is not deployable. Why? Because this is using a hard coded value like this, which will be running fine for dev environment. Let's suppose like asset bundle is a dev catalog, but if I want to run it for new QA and prod catalog, it will not run fine because those are different environments. So these things will be dynamically changed using your asset bundles environment variables. Make sense? So I will simply get the YAML first of all, and I will just show you, copy and go to our asset bundles, open anything, open any file, then we can navigate it. Okay, so this is our YAML file. Perfect. And you know that we do not put resources directly here. We just create the resources folder, and then we inside this we create another folder called, let's say, jobs, and within that I will create the job YAML file, and I will call it as job.yaml. It's YML. Okay, and I can paste that YAML code here. So if you remember, first of all, you need to change this thing, which is like changing the path. Okay, so you know that your path is relative dot dot and then dot dot, like just go 2 steps back and then you will just find the ingestion dot ipynb notebook. Perfect. But if you see one more thing, which is called parameter, base parameters, it is saying catalog name. So here we need to put a variable instead of this hard coded value. And in order to do that, we need to create environment variables in this particular file. Not in just this file, like we should have somewhere environment variables and we can include it. According to me, the best practice is include all your environment variables within this file so that it is like more readable. Some people prefer creating environment variables in the resources as well. Similar to this, let's say create folder and creating environment variables. Okay, basically you can say variables. Perfect. And within that you can just simply write the YAML code for it, and you are obviously including that variables folder in this using this code. That means including all the YAML files stored within the resources. So there are like multiple ways. Let's go with that way. Okay, so variables. So now what is the syntax to create basically the environment variable? Let me show you. Variables in asset bundles. Databricks asset bundles variables. So we have some system variables, but we are just looking for, yeah, this is the code. So I just want to show you the documentation. I know Gemini did a great work. Okay, basically not Gemini, Copilot did a great work. It has just provided me the code directly, but I think I want to show you the documentation. Okay, because it will be like more useful. Okay, so substitutions and variables, maybe this is the one. So let's see, workspace, targets, resources, custom variables. Yeah, this is the one. So this way you can create your variables. Okay, so this is the variable and this is the variable name. That's it. And you can also specify the default value if you want to, otherwise it's fine. But usually we just provide some default value, any value. And usually we just set the dev environment values, because sometimes you can forget to just provide the values. Okay, so this way you can create the variable. So this is like step number 1. Then you also need to refer a variable. This is a step number 2, how you can just refer the variable. Make sense? Because obviously you need to just refer this variable. So this is the way, and how you can just go there in the configuration, substitutions and variables. Simple. This is the way. So let me just create this particular variable using this YAML. Okay, let's copy this variables and let's put inside our variables file, and I will call it as environments. Environments.yaml, or basically variables.yaml, it's fine. Okay, let's put it here, and I want to create a variable for catalog name. Okay, and description is optional. Default value I will put it as asset bundles. Okay, makes sense? Good. Now what I will do, I will go to my job.yaml and I will use this variable instead of hard coding this. And how we can just use that, you have just seen dollar and then variable dot something. Let me show you again. So if you see dollar, then variable dot whatever, like something like whatever name you want to do, like whatever name you want to keep, right? So simple dot this variable dot variable name. And what is the variable name? Asset bundles. See, oh sorry, catalog name. Catalog name. So this is your variable name. Simple. See, so now if in your bundle you will be having a variable with this name, it will work, otherwise it will fail. Okay, so this way you can create the environment variables. Make sense? So this way you can create the environment variables. Perfect. So that is fine. We have learned about environment variables as well. Now I also want to include DLT pipeline, Delta Live Table Pipeline, which is like hottest topic in the world of Databricks right now, because this is really revolutionary. Now, if you do not know about Delta Live Tables, do not need to worry, because we are not covering Delta Live Tables very much in detail. We just want to include Delta Live Table in our bundle. And for just that purpose, we will create a very basic, very small, very entry level DLT pipeline. That's it. If you want to learn all the things about Delta Live Tables, you can simply go on browser and simply search Delta Live Tables, or basically you can write declarative pipelines, which is the newer name, declarative pipelines, Ansh Lamba. Okay, so this is the video. It's called Databricks Pipelines. You can watch this video. This is an amazing end-to-end guide which takes you from zero, and you will literally learn almost all the necessary things that you need to know as a data engineer. Databricks Pipelines 2025 job ready. There is another video on my channel which says Delta Live Tables full course, but this is the latest version of it, and this is the most curated version of it, Databricks Pipelines. Simple, 2025 job ready. I think this was launched 1 month ago, so you can definitely watch this video if you want to learn all the things within Databricks Pipelines. And if you take my recommendation, bro, it's high time to learn about declarative pipelines. It's high time. Trust me, because declarative pipeline is actually changing the dynamics. Okay, so you can simply go there and just enjoy. Make sense? Very good. So now let's create a demo, very basic pipeline. Simply go here and go to jobs and pipelines and click on ETL pipeline. So this time you will see this thing. If you do not see this particular UI, because this is a new UI, simply go here and go to settings, then go to developer, and then just make sure that you have turned on this button, which is called Lakeflow Pipeline Editor. Okay. And this as well, tabs for notebooks and files. Very good. Once you do that, you are good to go. So let me just call it as demo pipeline. Okay. And what is the catalog name that you want to use? Again, we can just use any catalog name here because we will be using environment variables to make it dynamic. So for now, you can simply pull this one, asset bundles, and schema will be information schema. It's fine. Or let's say bronze. It's fine. Okay. So let's start with Python. Okay, makes sense. And this is a structure that we see with declarative pipelines, and amazing framework. If you want to master this, and I would say master it, and I personally love the darker version of it. That means like if you just change the theme, I love this particular frame. Let me just convert into dark mode and let's now see that particular UI. It's amazing. This one. It is amazing. If you just write your code, you will actually feel, let's say, so this is basically the demo structure. Okay. And we are not talking about delta type tables alone. We are talking about how we can include delta type tables in our bundle. So let me just remove all the unnecessary stuff and let me just add the pipeline with the file. So let's add this file, let's say transformation.py. Perfect. So I will simply write very fundamental code for DLT. I will simply say import DLT. Okay. And then I can say @DLT.table, then DEF, then let's say transformation or transformed data. It's fine. Okay. Then I can simply create a data frame quickly. Return spark.range 10. That's it, because we just want a data frame just to test it. Okay. And in order to test this code, you can click on run pipeline and dry run instead of running it in the environment, because you should not run it. You should always dry run it first of all. So this will simply create your demo pipeline. Okay. With only one object, but that's fine. That's fine. Because we are not actually learning, hey, how we can just create delta type pipeline. No, we are learning how we can just add that particular piece in our bundle. Make sense? Okay, very good. So now, meanwhile it is doing this, you can do one more thing. You need to change the root directory of this particular whole structure, because all these things like demo pipeline, exploration folder, transformations, utilities, everything is actually developed outside your bundle. You need to transfer this particular code base within your source folder so that you can refer. So for that, I will quickly change the root and I will move the root folder to users and then asset bundle. See, now it is outside that particular bundle. Just make it available within our project and within our source. Yeah, like this. And here you can create a folder as well. Let's say pipelines. Okay. And there you can create this demo pipeline. Move. Perfect. So this is your root folder now moved to that particular area. Makes sense? And this is the demo pipeline that we want. Perfect. So now if we go to the jobs and pipelines. Okay. And let me just turn on the lights. Developer. And then light mode. Perfect. If I go to the pipeline, so this is my pipeline, demo pipeline. And if I want to get the code for it, click on it and you will see view settings YAML, and this is the code for it. Okay. So you need to simply get this code. Perfect. So now let's go to our bundle. Now let's see how we can just add that demo project. Just open anything. Perfect. So now this is our folder structure. Okay. Within the source, we have first of all pipelines notebook. Okay. And within that we have this demo pipeline. Make sense? and we have all the things, transformations and all the things. Let me just show you the code for pipeline. It is very interesting. If you just go to resources, let's create a folder called pipelines, and let's create another file within that, and let's call it as, let's say, demo pipeline.yaml. The YAML for this is very interesting. This is the YAML for it. First of all, we need to talk about root path. Now, what is this root path? Root path is the root of your Delta Live table, not just the transformation files, the root of the whole project. So obviously we need to change it, and we'll just make it like this, dot dot, then slash, then dot dot, right? Because this is a root folder which is sitting inside the pipelines folder, and this is the folder name, right? Makes sense? Very good. And same thing with the transformations as well. Dot dot slash dot dot. That means go 2 level up, and then within the source folder, within the pipelines folder, within the root folder, we have this folder called transformations. Basically, just to give you a glimpse of DLT, whatever we put in our transformations folder is get executed as a pipeline. Why? Because according to the new UI, this is the folder name that we have configured. Can we just rename this thing? Like, can we just rename the transformations folder like this from here, and we can just rename it as, like, let's say transformed, or let's say enriched? Yes. But in that scenario, you need to change the location here as well. Make sense? Very good. Now it is saying catalog name. Catalog name is very simple. You can simply use the variable that you have created to make it dynamic. So I will simply say dollar curly braces and then var dot catalog name. Perfect. Very good. Now everything is sorted and everything is fine, right? Okay. Now what we need to do? Now you first of all need to close all these things. Okay, let's see our databricks.yaml, and let's see that is our target ready for the deployment. Actually not. Why? Where is the preset? Remember, we always add preset. So let's add presets. Okay, and let's add preset as name prefix, and name prefix will be, you already know, I will say dev and then dollar curly sign workspace dot username, then dot short name. I think it was something like this. The formula, we can simply check the formula, custom presets, asset bundles, even if you do not specify that, it's fine, because you know that it's customized, but it's always good to provide. Okay, let me just search short name here. Perfect. I think we mentioned it correctly. Okay, but still, yeah, workspace.current user dot short name. Okay, perfect. So this is the prefix. Another prefix is, another preset is linked source, linked deployment, make it false. Make sense? Okay, false. So this is done, and production is fine, and we can obviously add something like this. Let's say I want to add here prod before dot bundle. Let's say prod. Okay, so it will simply create this folder before deploying it. Username, you can obviously change it as group name, and group name will be, let's say, admins. Okay, admins can manage. Makes sense. So this is our YAML file, which is ready. Now if we deploy this, okay, how we can just deploy that? Simply go to your terminal. Connection closed. Wow, because we closed the terminal, I think. Yep, no worries. We can open any, you can say, file, any notebook, and simply open the terminal from here. Okay, and go to terminal, and then just open it in the new window. And for that you would need to just attach it. Let's attach it. try environment 3. What is this, man? Environment version 3. I think they have launched something new. Okay, we'll just cover it later on. Okay, so it is just preparing our terminal. Okay, perfect. So now let's expand it like this. And let's actually go inside the bundle. It is saying text file busy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, CP cannot create regular file. Really? Why? Okay, now it's fine. Okay, so it is now currently in this directory. You will simply go to the bundles folder, asset bundles. And within the bundles, we have, I think, DApp project. Perfect. So we are inside this particular bundle. Now we will simply validate it. Bundle and Databricks bundle. Databricks bundle, validate, target, dev. Okay, because obviously we should also see the validation step for dev environment as well. Let's see what will happen if we deploy this. So it will give me the validation steps. And let's see. Okay, so it is saying, hey bro, your name is this, like bundle name, then target is dev, and this is the host, this is the user, and this is the path. Very good. If I want, and it is saying validation, okay, very good. Now let's say I want to see the summary. I can simply put summary, hit enter, and let's see the summary. Okay. Okay, so this is the summary, and I personally like summary more because we get detailed understanding of the resources as well. So there are basically two resources. One is job, one is pipeline. And you know what? Pipelines is the most updated and I would say the rare thing that you will find regarding asset bundles, because pipeline code editor, which is newly introduced, is pretty much tricky to configure, but now you know how to configure that because you need to change the root path as well and everything, right? Always, you always get top-notch knowledge, right? So now let's finally deploy the bundle and let's see what happens, because we use environment variables as well, so many new things. So let's see if we have any errors uploading bundle. Okay, and you can actually ignore that error if that comes related to Metastore. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. Okay, a manage resource VA catalog name has been declared in the root. Oh, I think we forgot to mention R here. VA dot catalog name. We forgot to add R. Okay, let's go to our deployment. So where we forgot to add R? Oh, here. Okay, var catalog makes sense. So if it is partially deployed, let me first of all deploy the bundle. Oh, sorry, destroy the bundle. Let's see like if it has partially deployed. Yes, it has partially deployed, I guess. Not really. No, it's fine. Okay, and let's confirm. Do we have any dot bundle? Yeah, we do have dot bundle. Okay, not a big deal. It will simply deploy for one more time. Let's deploy it for one more time. Okay, perfect. Let's see if it has anything. Manage resource VA. Okay, now this time it is saying deploying. Oh, this time it is good. Okay, deploying bundle and everything is nice and sorted. So this time we didn't see anything, any exit status, anything. Okay, so now if we go to our Databricks bundle, let me just refresh it. And even before going to this, let's see our jobs and pipelines. Yes, perfect. We have both the jobs and pipelines ready. So this is my pipeline, this is my job. Very good. And do you know what? I am more excited to see the result of that particular job. What do I mean? If I open this dev, if I open, let's say, edit as YAML, I want to see the catalog name perfect. Remember, we didn't hard code this value. We simply passed the value as default, right? So it simply took the default value as is. But I will just also show you how you can just override the variables. Okay, but simply it took the default value. Perfect. Make sense? Okay, very good. Now if we see this one, which is pipeline, Then also you can see it, view settings YAML, and perfect. As you can see, all the things are fine. And it is using dot bundle location because of that particular source link deployment as a false, right? So this is working absolutely fine. And in the dot bundle as well, we have this particular project, dev, and all the things ready. Now we will be seeing how we can just override our parameters during deployment. Yes, during deployment. So I will just show you, don't worry. So if we just want to deploy it using, let's say, variable names or basically variable parameters. So there's a way to do that. So if I just go here, I just want to see if it is available on documentation. Otherwise I can just show you in the terminal as well, because in documentation we can just simply refer some examples. Let's say Databricks bundle deploy command. So Databricks Asset Bundle deployment modes, Databricks bundle, or we can just see here as well. If we search -h, Databricks bundle deploy and then -h. Let's see what options do we have here. So we have here some things which are some flags, and we want to talk about flags because we want to pass a flag for our variable. So what flags do we have? We have this var settings. See, global flags. So obviously we use target, and you know how to use target, but there's something called as var settings. Okay, var, set values for variables defined in bundles. Config example is this one. -- var equals to foo equals to bar. It is just an example. In our case, it will be like catalog name equals to asset bundles or asset bundles test, just to make sure our values are fine, just for that particular purpose. Make sense? So this is fine when we have deployed to dev environment. Now, if we want to deploy it to prod environment, let's say prod environment. Let me just first of all delete this. Let's say we want to deploy this to the prod environment. Then obviously we need to override these variables because we have simply passed the variable values as default, because we knew like we will be just deploying in dev as well. So I can simply override this value like this. Deploy. Then first of all, let me just clear everything just to have more space. Okay. So now I can say Databricks bundle deploy. Obviously target is dev and var equals to variable name, catalog name, and its value that we need to override. So the value that we want to override is, let's say, asset bundles, and this catalog name is prod. Just imagine that we have this value. Now hit this one. It is saying bash command not found. What is wrong with the command? Databricks. Oh, Databricks. It should be Databricks. Okay, Databricks. Plus we need to correct one more thing. Target is not dev, it is prod. Perfect. Now let's see what happens. So it will simply deploy the bundle to the prod environment with overriding environment variables. Make sense? Like that's how you, because these are, see, there are two types of, you can say, illustrations. One is like very basic, simply showing one demo example. One is like with errors, with, you can say, those things which are related to real world. Because just imagine, building data engineering projects actually take time. Why? Because there are like so many errors that you need to fix. There are so many things that you need to know. See, another error, cannot create pipeline catalog, asset prod doesn't exist. Exactly. This catalog is not even there. That means that this is working fine. Now, in order to deploy this, we need to create the catalog, right? And how you can just do that? Go to quickly catalog and create a catalog for prod environment. Okay. Simply say create catalog, asset bundles, prod. Perfect. So I always try to show you the real side. The real side, realist side. Okay, so now it is there. Let's redeploy. Perfect. Perfect. So it is saying uploading bundle, then deploying resources. Okay, then We do not want an error. Okay. Yeah, that error is fine. That we know. That is fine. Okay. So now that means we have our bundle deployed and we can see two production resources are deployed, demo pipeline and ingestion job. Let me just open this job and let me just show you the YAML. And we should see the overridden value. Very good. We have catalog name as prod. Amazing. Amazing. That's how you can just override the values, and it's in the pipeline as well. If we see the pipeline, okay, view settings YAML and perfect, it is overridden. So these are the things that you need to take care of. CD, which is continuous deployment or basically continuous delivery. These are the things. And where is your bundle? It is inside the prod dot bundle, dap project, prod and files, and then obviously source, and all these things are here. One more thing, your jobs and pipelines are actually referring to the notebook inside the exact location, workspace, users, Ansh Lamba, prod, bundle. It is no longer referring these things from, you can say, your development path, because you have set source deployment, source link deployment as false. That is why it is referring to the exact location that it should. See, this is the benefit of it. Make sense? Now let's talk about our last topic of today's masterclass, is like destroying a bundle. Let's say I deployed one bundle, okay, and now I want to destroy it. What will be the advantage of destroying it, and what happens when we destroy the bundle? So there are basically two things. First of all, it will deploy all the resources, all the files, all the source code. In short, it will destroy everything inside dot bundle folder. It will basically truncate the dot bundle folder. Dot bundle folder will still be there, but it will be empty. One thing. Second thing is, it will destroy all the pipelines and all the jobs that will be deployed in your workspace. Everything. So let me show you Databricks bundle destroy and then -h. Like, what do we have inside this particular command? We have destroy all resources deployed by this bundle from the workspace. That means it will destroy everything that was deployed through this bundle. Okay. And we have some flags. These are flags, normal flags, and these are global flags. Target, where you want to destroy. Variables, set values for variable defined in bundle config, and all those things. Okay. So let's try to destroy the prod bundle. Okay. I'll simply say Databricks bundle destroy target equals, not equals, target and then dev or prod. Perfect. So now it will start destroying everything that it has just deployed. Why it is useful? Let's say it wants to just get rid of everything that you have deployed. Okay. But it will throw an error, not error, basically a warning that, hey, these things will be automatically deleted and it will not be reverted. And you already know that it cannot be reverted, because once it is destroyed, it is destroyed. You cannot just redevelop those things using your Git. Okay. So once it is destroyed, you can see deleting file destroy completed. If you now go to your Databricks workspace, let's refresh it. Let's go inside this prod folder. As I just mentioned, dot bundle will be there, but it will be empty. See, it is empty. Even if I go to jobs and pipelines, you will not see those two production jobs and pipelines. Everything is there. Everything is like destroyed using this bundle destroy command. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? So this was like your end-to-end tutorial, so that you can be familiar with asset bundles, deployment, your configuration, your YAML, like everything that revolves around Databricks Asset Bundles. And being a data engineer, you need to develop these bundles. Yes, the automation of deployment part can be taken care by any DevOps engineer, any CI/CD engineer in organization, but you as a data engineer need to create these bundles, these basically YAML file, this structure, this whole. See, now you will say, hey, why do we need to just worry about asset bundles? Because obviously DevOps engineers will take care of these things. I know that. But DevOps engineer will not build this thing. This thing will be built by a data engineer. Once this thing is done, once this thing is completed, once you have tested that you are able to deploy to multiple environments, then DevOps engineer will come into the picture and he or she will take this particular bundle and automate the deployment to QA and prod. That is his or her task, but you still need to create this whole thing. Right? That's why it is important to learn about Databricks Asset Bundles. So now let me just show you how you can just push your changes to your remote repo, so that obviously you can just highlight this particular project, this particular bundle in your resume or any social platform, obviously, because this is really important. So if I go to, let's say, my workspace, okay, if I go here, so as you know, in the asset bundles, okay, we are inside this branch. So far we have made so many changes within this particular branch. Makes sense? Let me just click on this branch and let me just commit all these things. So I can simply say bundle development. This is my commit message, and I will simply say commit and push. Do you know what commit and push means? This will commit the changes, okay, and it will push this branch to my remote repo as well. So if I click here, commit and push, this will commit all these changes, and this branch will also be available in my GitHub repo, GitHub remote repo. Okay, so I can show you. If you go here, you will see branches. See, feature Ansh had 2 recent pushes 2 seconds ago and compare and pull request. Makes sense? So that means I have second branch. Obviously in main it is empty, and in the, let me just refresh, it should show me feature Ansh branch as well. So now I have feature Ansh branch as well. See, in this branch we have everything, tab project, and within that we have all the things ready. Okay, so in order to do this, you can simply create a pull request, okay, and click here, compare and pull request, and just ignore this, click on create and pull request, because we do not want to just approve and all. We simply need to merge our code, okay, confirm merge. This way your main branch will also be populated with these changes. If you see now asset bundles and you are in main branch and you have this particular changes, now you can actually showcase this project if you want to. Make sense? Very good. Now you will say, Ansh Lamba, yes sir, our feature branch is updated because we pushed this code. Our remote main branch is also updated because we created the pull request. But if I click on the main branch of my local repo, it is still behind, right? It is still behind. If I just click here and if I see, so in the main branch, sometimes you will not see the updated code. Sometimes you can see the updated code. It's fine. But usually if you do not see, do not worry, because your changes might not be pulled in your local main. Click on this main branch. Okay. Simply click on pull. Pulling will clear outputs, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Do not show this again. Click on confirm. So what this pull command will do, pull command will pull all the changes which will be in the remote main and will not be in the local main. Make sense? Okay, makes sense. So see, you have everything here. So it is fine. That's how you can just push the changes in your remote repo using a local repo. And I hope now you have clear understanding. Now you have a very strong knowledge foundation, everything for Databricks Asset Bundles. I hope so. And if you found this video helpful and if you learned a lot about Databricks Asset Bundles, simply support this channel so that I can just continue creating more and more videos for you in future so that you can grow in your career. And I simply feel really happy whenever you just hit that like button, write your honest review in the comment section, and hit the subscribe button in order to just support me, because I want to grow this community together, okay, with your help. So I will just see you in the next video coming on your screen right now. So happy learning.